Depends on where you are because outside right now it's raining cats and dogs, and I ain't trying to go out there and get wet. But we're potting
Okay.
today. I got here's what I like to do. I like to bring friends on who don't know each other. It's super fun. I send them like a lot of the same posts on Instagram all day. So it's fun for me to like play out some of these thought exercises of how this conversation is going to actually go. But these two guys have been in a fantasy football league together for 2 seasons, and now we're all here on the podcast. So, to my special guest, what's up, Wayne? How you doing? Glad to have you back. It's been like a
What's
year.
good? Hey, it's give or take a weekend or two, but yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
Parlay Pete, Thursday usual. How's it going?
It's going fantastic. It's a Tequila Thursday this Thursday, though.
Absolutely right. I got my tequila right here.
Where's your lawn? Where's your lawn?
I don't need that.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm off tomorrow.
I'm not a bitch because I like a lawn.
I didn't call you that.
I know.
I don't use that word to describe people.
Look, all I'm saying is this: it gives it a nice little touch. At least, hey, I'm not a Josh Holsey type of guy, and I sprinkle salt on my, fucking the meat inside of my finger, and fucking suck it off like I'm doing a line or some shit.
He does that when he takes tequila shots.
I swear to God, when we went to his house, he sprinkles some salt. He cuts up fresh lime. So Josh I can tell Josh is taking a page out of my book. Because he knows whenever I have people over, like I cut up lines. Like, I do all this hospitality shit. This guy, Josh, he cut up that. He was making margaritas for people. And then when he did his shot, he's sprinkling salt, like I said, on that. What was this? Was this called the weenus? What is this called? No, the weenus is here, right? I forgot.
Yeah, the witness is on your elbow.
Man, he'll put it in there. He'll take a shot. He'll do that, and then he'll lick it off. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen. I'm just like, San Diego's really gotten to you, hadn't it, son? Nothing else can explain it. The only thing missing was him having like a chili mango or some shit that he pulled out to do it. I don't know, but
all right, man. We have an action-packed episode full of basketball. And really why I wanted both of y'all to be here, because Wayne and I were supposed to do this conversation a while back, and then football season happened, and I'm like, yeah, I can't talk basketball right now. I mean, I'm ready for the finals to be over so I can start back talking football every week.
I'm so ready for football. I mean,
I'm so tired of consuming basketball media. Basketball is not made to be talked about every day.
Ooh,
Playoff
disrespectful to the art.
I like basketball. It's my favorite sport of the sports to play. But
the best to watch.
I just feel like football is just so many more talking points so many more nuanced talking points that you can have with more people. I think the basketball conversations get real stale, and maybe because it's mainstream media who are having it, but we're not going to have that conversation, okay? So let's just go into – do we want to start with Luka, Joker, Steph, Kyrie, or CP3? Wayne, I'm going to let you choose. Hold on, what you got, Parlay Pete?
I'm here for all of it.
I was just going to say, back to what you just said, the NBA is player-driven. And that's why it gets so stale, because we're just always comparing players as opposed to the teams. And in the NFL, and for what it's worth, college football – yes, it is player-driven too, like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Those guys don't win. Those are considered the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
1 Super Bowl each. But a guy like LeBron goes to 10 straight finals, 8 straight finals, whatever the number was. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, the NBA is very much so player-driven.
And I think that's one of the issues that the NBA has as far as crossing over, besides the fact it's just a bunch of young, rich black people trying to appeal to the rest of America that just don't sit right.
We don't have very many Detroit Pistons 04 teams where it isn't like to me, even though Jimmy is a star to a degree, Michelob Ultra commercial, I really want to be good spot for Jimmy, There you go. What's that cactus lime or whatever?
It is the lime and prickly pear cactus. Yes.
Yeah. That's a really solid light beer, refreshing. But point being, there aren't very many teams. There always is player driven. Because even Jaylen Brown, can we just get into this? Let's just get in directly into to what these series, these conference finals.
Okay, let's do it.
You look at yesterday, right? We had Miami and Boston, Game 5. We all know that typically Game 5s do determine who wins 7-game series, especially when they're tied 2-2. It always is an indicator of who's going to win the series. And now that they're going back to Boston, Miami's just too hurt. They really do miss Tyler Hero for scoring, and they're just too hurt, man. They're too hurt. Kyle Lowry looks burnt out. He looks like he doesn't.
Kyle Lowry
really regretting that 3. What do they give him? 3 years, $90 million.
Something like that. Kyle Lowry looks like what I thought Kyle Lowry would look like at this time of the year. A little fat ass Kyle Lowry.
He looks like the Kyle Lowry of the Houston Rockets.
He don't look like
your take on Kyle Lowry is so disrespectful. It's always been such a disrespectful take that you've had for that dude as a ball player. That is wild.
No, it's not disrespect because I call him CP3 light.
Which that's about who he looks
they're
like.
They're not even the same. Two totally different ball players, dog. The style is different. The grind is different. The dog is different. Kyle Lowry has a type of dog in him that you don't see in CP3 ever. We confuse his bad attitude and poor sportsmanship with him being a competitor. It's not the same thing. When you see Kyle Lowry out there, you can choose last year if you want to, or championship year, taking charges against Embiid, literally just taking dirty hits, working on getting clean calls without flopping around. That's a different type of energy than you get from CP3. They play the game differently.
Kyle Lowry took charges in an All-Star game. Stop it.
You see what I'm saying? He's a different type of ball player.
Kyle Lowry.
I guess that's the ball player you don't like.
Honestly, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Wayne. It's a ball player that I don't like to watch on TV as a TV product because the NBA, it's basketball. It's still a TV show. We got to make this very important. It's a TV show.
They have seasons too, just like any other show's got seasons. It's a
TV show.
Season 100. No, season 75.
Right. Kyle Lowry's a bad TV product, but I would love to play with Kyle Lowry. Like I don't want when a lot of times my comments on players and I don't properly contextualize what the way I'm talking about them, but like Kyle Lowry, the TV product, I don't want to watch you. Like, yeah, if you make the All-Star game, Kyle Lowry, you deserve to get the nod. You deserve to get your credit for making the All-Star game, but we don't want you in the game. I want to see LaMelo Ball play point guard in the All-Star game.
What does that say? You're a league pass guy. You like it when LaMelo's playing job.
You're damn right. I love that when LaMelo's playing Ja. I don't care what the TNT game is. That's what I'm watching. That's a way better TV product.
When Dr. Naismith when he put this game into action, he did not put this game into action for a TV product. It was about the art of the game, and I think that's the part that you have gotten away from. Well, you want the most out of your league pass.
Well, but no, here's the thing, Wayne, and I think that's a very important thing that you bring up. And we're going to be all over the place with these basketball things, so y'all are just going to make me have to work harder to make the breakout videos, is because there's a difference between TV product and good basketball, right? Because Draymond Green, awful TV product. But what Draymond Green does is great for winning. When we talk about a lot of the great players, we talk about Luka, we talk about KD, we talk about Steph, we talk about Kyrie, we talk about LeBron, we talk about Joker. We talk about these different players, but then you look at Steph and Clay, the way they play basketball, they play winning basketball even when they don't win. And a lot of times you have your Lukas, your Jokers, more your Embiids, even Embiid now, and even some of what LeBron does, Russell Westbrook, they don't play the most efficient style of basketball, but it highlights their individual talents. So we love it. One thing I love about Kevin Durant, when everything is set up right for Kevin Durant looks to play an efficient style of basketball. he's looking to take the best shot, not just a shot that he can make. You know, KD can make tough shots, and he makes a lot of tough shots, but that's not what he's looking for. When you hear KD talk about offense, he doesn't talk about, I want to score 50. I'm trying to score 50 on 15 shots. You know what I mean? Like he cares about the efficiency of the game. So when you look at the Warriors, and again, that's why KD went to the Warriors, because they play basketball the right way. I think there are different things pulling at each other. And then you throw in the TV product of it. Well, we want to have a good TV show. We want to have good ratings. I watched the Lakers play far too many national TV games this year. That was a bad TV product.
It was.
But it's the fucking Lakers.
Very fucking man, that shit was frustrating to watch, to be honest with you. As a Lakers fan, and then just as a fan of ball, it just was like, man, what is this bullshit? And of course, betting wise too, like it was brutal, man. That shit was brutal to watch sometimes. But back to Kyle Lowry real quick. Do you believe that Kyle Lowry is a Hall of Famer?
He's gonna get in.
Right. We know probably not. Of course, you know, I don't even think I think we did talk about this once, because I compared him kind of like Tim Hardaway.
I think you did.
Like how Tim Hardaway's just now getting in, but Tim Hardaway hasn't played in probably, this might have been his last year eligibility, like to get in. You know what I mean?
His son's been
pushing to the limits.
But yeah, but like you said too, Tim Hardaway kind of is known for, you know, that crossover, right? The killer crossover. Tim never won a title. I can't recall him being on a championship team. He's like a 5-time All-Star. Kyle Lowry, I think, has been to 6. Kyle Lowry, funny enough, even though really Kawhi Leonard should go down as the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time, Kyle Lowry will go down.
Stop. Whoa.
He should.
Whoa. Vince.
He's the reason they got the title at the end of the day. And his 1 year was more impactful than – well, okay, Vince – but see, I think Kyle Lowry has taken that because he won the chip.
Vince.
He won the chip, and that's what
greatest rapper of all time. Vince.
If we're going by what we saw, the eye test, yeah, Vince is number one because he played there long enough and he really put like that on the map. He's the OG rapper, basically.
Okay. I give it my reason for it being Vince is because of his impact on the city of Toronto. When Vince Sanity came to Toronto and he had his little cousin with him and he brought I won't even mention that point guard with him. When he brought those guys with him and they got there and they started playing basketball the way they did, they changed the makeup of Toronto. I think hands down what he's done for that city is very LeBron-like. In the sense of what LeBron did for Cleveland, sans championship.
Whoa. I think that Drake is the best Raptor in history because he brought the 6 and the Owls to the city. He brought OVO up there.
What number prickly pear are you on right now? Is that prickly pear number 4 or something? Like, is it strong?
Look, I'm not mad at your Vince Carter take at all. Like, I definitely think that if you ask Drake or if you ask
who gives a fuck what Drake thinks,
they would say Kyle Lowry is really more beloved than Vince Carter. Crazy man. Like,
well, beloved, yeah, because Vince gave up on Toronto before he left. He said, "Hey, get me out of here. I'm over this." So yeah, they turned their back on him.
I'm really surprised that they were never a player in free agency. And I get it. Some people might not want to move to Canada and then move your kids and sit there. But like at the same time, bro, Toronto is like one of my favorite cities. Like I don't understand the women. Like Toronto is beautiful.
Well, here's the thing: you've been there. You're speaking to a lot of people who haven't been to, who really haven't been to Toronto. They went up there for games, but also it's a super cold city. And then you're going through customs every time you travel. So like your late nights are later than everyone else's because you still have to go through customs. And Chris Bosh told some stories about it on somebody's podcast. And he talked about how, like, bruh, you might get pulled to the side and checked. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I'm a Raptor.
Yeah.
Stop playing with me. And then, you know, these players, let's be real now. You know, players be flying with their weed and stuff with them. You really think they trying to have to deal with all that extra because they coming into Toronto?
Probably not.
Well, they don't. They don't have a weed issue in Canada.
Yeah, there's plenty up there. They were practicing that shit was legal then. And
they don't have a weed issue up there.
I went in 2016 and like
I don't use weed. I don't go to Canada.
I don't smoke either. But when I go places where smoking is super duper acceptable, i.e. Amsterdam, these places where it's like you have to do it when you're there, I absolutely will partake. Like, even I don't smoke, but if I'm out in Cali and somebody's got a joint, hell yeah, I'll hit it. Like,
so if you go to a place like Amsterdam where the red light district is like a thing too, do you partake in that too?
I had take the fifth. Take the fifth.
I have the mother of my child with me, but no comment if she wasn't there. I mean, I don't know what she did. I would have had to have been. Look, everybody's got to immerse themselves in a culture when they're there. When in Rome, it's the same thing everywhere else.
So you telling me if you go to certain parts of Africa, you're gonna come back with a lip plate?
No, not necessarily.
You're ridiculous.
But
maybe, but you're ridiculous.
It's really dickish. What's next? We got India. I mean, come on, man. Grow up, big baby. All right, grow up.
Hey, man, look. I went to Bahrain and I had me a little hair wrap one time.
Yeah, and people do that out there in the Middle East. They obviously, when you go to Dubai, you look at anyone's pictures that's been, right? Like everybody gets the turbans. And
didn't you have a grill with that too, though? You had a hair wrap and a grill.
Yes, I did.
Okay, just making sure. All right.
Hey, you talk about Dubai. Funny Dubai story, right? I went to Dubai twice. Wayne was there. The first time we didn't go together, but we ended up together at the club one night. Man, let me tell you, they love black people in Dubai. Then the second time we actually went together, and we went to the best brunch in the fucking world. And
bottomless?
San Fran.
All you can eat. And bottomless, like if you go to a Middle Eastern brunch and you drink mimosas, you are doing yourself a disservice. It's open bar.
Yeah.
Oh wow. What did that cost US?
Like $200.
It still sounds worth it.
No, like and there was like real cuts of food.
Liquor.
Was it more than 200, Wayne?
Was it more than what?
Was it more than 200?
But you guys got top
shelf liquor. Who counted? We didn't count anything. We
just spent money.
Nobody paid attention to the. Yeah, we couldn't tell you. Look, they could have. No idea. No idea.
Look. So the thing about Dubai though is they're kind of strict over there about certain things.
We spend on memories.
Yeah. Like I was walking. I had a suit on. I done unbuttoned every button I had. And they like, hey, sir, you gotta button your buttons back. Button up too.
I've never been.
I just knew I was going.
No, go ahead.
I just knew I was gonna have to fight that day. Like I was like, okay, I don't know who these, because they didn't look like normal security. So when they walked up on you and they're like, sir, can you button up your buttons? I was like, okay, we're gonna have to make these big dudes disappear. But yeah, that was one of the few times I was like, okay, about to be an international incident.
And those are the worst.
Yeah, it was going down.
Those are the worst. And then we really get back to the basketball. But when something happens out there, it really gets bad. Katora, obviously the mother of my child, we were going to London, and so I missed my flight because me and Justice were at my house, and like I think we got to the airport and I left my passport, which was arguably the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I could have forgot my bag and been okay, but I can't forget my passport. But anywho, missed my flight, so she gets there essentially 12 hours before me or something like that. And they detained her because I'm the one that obviously had all the hotel reservations, everything. You know what I mean? There was nothing in her name.
Yeah.
And so like they're like, so where are you going? And she didn't know. Now I'm on the plane and I'm texting her. I'm like, well, this is where we're staying. The reservation's under my name. Tell them that I'm coming. They can even verify that I'm on this plane and that I'm on the way and that essentially I missed my flight. They detained her for like 6 hours before I got there. And she said that she was back there with like some Sudanese people, and they were crying, like they were kind of like treating them bad. And this is just in the UK, in London. So it's just like, if Britain's doing that, I know them motherfuckers in Abu Dhabi are. like that is our biggest ally, literally. Them or Canada, I guess. Mm-hmm. But basically, our for what it's worth, the founding fathers, right, of this country.
You know what? It's funny you talk about the founding fathers, and that's going to play into a conversation we have later. But let's get back to the playoffs. Boston in 6, yeah?
You got no argument out of me. I don't see how Miami wins. They dropped the ball last night, and like I said, they're just too injured. I think even if Tyler Hero is able to give it a go, they're not healthy enough, man. And Boston is a physical team that does play defense. And with Robert Williams out there, Bam Adebayo's fucking non-existent. The one game that Robert Williams didn't play, Bam went off, though. Like, he ate Al Horford's fucking lunch. Fuck Al Horford, by the way. Matter of fact, 4 years ago this week.
Yeah, no. I saw my Snapchat members. Tell Wayne the fuck Al Horford story real quick.
All right, so obviously Parlay Pete, I've got this name for a reason. We're out there. I typically get free rooms and stuff for MGM. We were out there Memorial Day weekend. It was the guy. It was the boys for sure. Boyd was the only one that wasn't there. And I have a video of me cursing him out, drunk as fuck. We were sitting somewhere, and like I recorded it, but I sent it to Boyd because he was drinking wine with Zoe or something. And we're just like, bro, you could have bought her because Zoe is basically one of our homies anyways. So like,
he said he didn't want to mix crowds.
Trying to be the woman with us, like
he didn't want to mix crowds.
I don't know why. We knew Zoe before him, so I don't know. But nonetheless, so we go to MGM Grand. Me and JP put 1,000 on LeBron Game 7 against Boston, and this was kind of the start of my sports betting career. Honestly, out of it all, because I used to go to Vegas and play craps and blackjack. That's what I would play. I actually wasn't going there and doing sports betting, and so. We did that. They gave us a bunch of free drinks, and then because I'm an MGM M Life player, once we got it, they gave us a full section on the balcony at the MGM Grand for Game 7 of the Eastern Conference. So we were able to get all the people we wanted in, or whatever. And we're sitting there, and I forgot how it kind of came up. We were talking about as bitter because even though I'm a Lakers fan, we're all Hawks fans too because we're from here. Like we want the Hawks to do well. Like. I've never not wanted the Hawks to do well. I've always wanted the Hawks to be good. They just always lacked a star. We never had a superstar. So
we finally got one.
And still don't.
Yeah, I was just saying he still ain't even a super. He ain't Kobe Bryant, man. Like he not top 5. Like the Hawks ain't never like even Dominique Wilkins. Maybe some people would argue he was top 5 at some point in his career. I don't know how in the 80s he might have been a top 5 player because I can name fucking Magic, Kareem, and then Bird. And I know Dr. J's on the back, but Jordan. Like you
Dr.
can name
Jordan, Barkley, Olajuwon.
Better than him. Moses Malone. Like there are so many guys, even in the 80s, that you would have put over Dominique Wilkins. Hawks have never had a top 5 player in the NBA ever. And so, but point being, Al left the Hawks, and I know that they offered him the most that they could to keep him here because they signed Dwight Howard. The thought was they were going to pair him with Dwight Howard, with Bud.
That wasn't going to work.
Well, because they were already letting Millsap walk. So, but I thought it could have because Al has never really – he wasn't really a center. He wasn't. He's 6'10". Al is not a center. And even more
All right,
so –
let's speed the story up. Long story short, Wayne, we start yelling fuck Al Horford from our section, and we got the whole people down in the peasant section of the sports book yelling it with us. Because LeBron was plus odds that day, so the whole sports book –
I'll never forget. They were plus 135. I could not believe in a game.
Yeah, everybody threw their money on Bron because it's like, hold on, you got LeBron plus odds in Game 7 against Jayson Tatum? Stop it.
Yeah, this is rookie Brown second-year Tatum or vice versa.
No, Ricky Tatum second-year Brown.
Yeah, and it was – and no Kyrie because Kyrie was hurt. And it was just like, all right, yeah, LeBron. And I know that LeBron didn't have I think K-Love might have been hurt. I don't remember.
Didn't matter.
That's my point. It didn't fucking matter. And so – yeah, we were just screaming "fuck Al Horford" because of, because he's Al Horford.
Hey, so we go to the West, and the Warriors dynasty continues to roll. I think they finished Dallas in short order tonight by 5. They do this sometimes. Sometimes they lose games just so they can win it at home. So I just think they're just going to close it out at home for the home fans. Steph's probably going to give us a nice 35. Clay is going to look like a shell of himself, and Swaggy Poole is going to give me a nice 25.
Did you say they were going to win by 5?
No, I said Steph's going to give me 35. I think
they're going to. You said they were going to win by 5.
They were going to win by about 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like in 5 games. 5 games. Or 6, sorry.
6.
Oh, is it 6?
Are they going to cover the spread? Yes or no, Lee?
No, I'm saying they're going to win game 5 today. Damn it. Is it game 6?
No, it is game 5. You're absolutely right.
Stop confusing me.
It is game 5. I'm tripping.
What's the spread?
6.5.
Shit, I'll take Steph to cover. Fucking right.
I got him first half cover 3.5.
That's fair.
I expect them to be big in the first half, but Dallas come back a little
bit. What you got, Wayne? You got Luka winning? I mean,
I got
Dallas stench on your breath.
Jalen Brunson is not going to allow that to happen. The Warriors will get the win. All right, let me be clear. The Warriors will probably get the win. But as far as the spread goes, I think Brunson and Dinwiddie are going to be shooting into the final seconds. They're not going to sit down tonight. So
I agree. I fully expect Dallas to have a 6 to 7 man rotation tonight.
That's if they're allowed to shoot. They got to ask for permission to shoot.
Maybe you don't know who Spencer Dinwiddie is, but he's going to shoot the ball.
And if he shoots too much, he won't touch it no more because that man who runs point for him, he don't feel like himself when he doesn't have the ball with him.
Luka didn't even play great in the first half, and they were blowing them out last game. That was the crazy part.
When it's a Brunson, let's go to the science of basketball, right? Here's my position. It's teams like Memphis and teams like Dallas that if you take away that one star on the team, they're actually a better basketball team. So when I see a guy like Brunson and Dinwiddie that are taking the lead, they're a better basketball team. Now, and the same thing over in Memphis when you take that Ja Morant gentleman out the picture and you let a guy like Tyus run the point guard position, facilitate the offense in the original point guard fashion, they're better basketball teams.
They sure as fuck look like it all.
What they need, though, but what they need is they need that closer. They need that Luka to be able to close. They need that Ja to be able to close. But they're gassed because they're opening so hard. And what I hope Jason Kidd adjusts for next season is he takes that pressure off of Luka by allowing Jalen to run that offense and then allowing everybody else to get into a rhythm early. Go ahead with your European basketball player hate.
See, you really just threw me a oop, Wayne, and this is what I love about podding with you.
Do you remember the first time I threw you a oop?
I didn't catch it.
Okay.
Why didn't you catch it, Lee?
I'm not who I used to be.
Okay, so this was relatively recent.
3 years
ago. No. Like
3
years ago.
That's recent. That's recent enough.
But anyway.
It is 3 years.
Hey, look, no, Wayne had me hooping Wayne had me hooping every day at lunch. Like, come to my office. We hooping today? I'm gonna take a nap. Nah, we hooping today. And I'm hooping 4 days a week religiously. But anyways, to talking about Luka, he really set me up for what I really feel about Luka. When we talk about Luka and when we compare him to the all-time greats, not compare him to the greats in the league right now. I'm okay with that comparison. But we can compare him to the all-time greats, and you see that the players around him play a better brand of basketball when he's off the court. I think about 80s Jordan pre-triangle, pre-Scotty, when he finally realized, hey, you don't have to do everything. You have to trust your teammates, because if you trust them, it's not even about them making shots and stuff. It's about them getting touches, feeling like they're valued, feeling like they're on the court. Because again, both of y'all play basketball. You know what happens when you go too long without touching the ball. The average person, you get cold, but you also disconnect. So you have less emphasis on enthusiasm on defense. You're less likely to rebound. You're going to lose your man when he goes backdoor cut, like, oh, shit. And then when you finally get the ball, it's like, oh, what does this thing feel like again? So when I watched Dallas play Utah without Luka, and you got Jalen Brunson running the show, and you got Brunson and Dinwiddie kind of doing their thing, and Brunson's getting to play comfortably like Brunson. He's taking me back to Villanova.
Championship level basketball.
Exactly. I say, hey, what Luka does, it fills a stat sheet. He will embarrass some people. He'll put up great numbers, and he will win some games. But that is not championship style basketball, because when you maximize Luka, you are minimizing some of his teammates, and that's not maximizing the entire team.
So you don't believe that the model of Euro basketball is winning ball, because he plays a European style.
I'm saying
it's not.
No, that's not Euro basketball though.
But that's the basis of his game. His game comes from his time in Europe. He was an MVP there, right?
It came from his time. It came from his time in Europe, but the European basketball game and the NBA basketball game are played differently. The European basketball game is far more physical than the American basketball game. So
Now, I was just gonna say, quick hypothetical question.
Okay.
Luka Doncic, let's say that he played for the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
Popovich is his coach. And I think you can widely regard, if there's anyone that's got the closest resemblance to a Euro basketball team, it's always kind of been the Spurs. A lot of passing. Guys that are – because, Tony's not in. I know Manu just got in. Tim's, of course, in. Pop's the Hall of Fame coach. I'm going to assume Tony Parker possibly isn't in. I think he might be – he's probably a Hall of Famer. Probably.
Absolutely. If Manu gets in, Tony definitely gets in.
Yeah, that would be the thought. And because Tony's won a finals MVP. But now imagine Luka Doncic playing for Coach Pop. Do you believe that the style of basketball that he plays would be the same? Or do you think that
No, the ball would move. He would move. He would play off. If he played for Pop, he would have to play off the ball. One of the reasons why LeBron never went and played for Pop is not San Antonio. It's LeBron was not going to be able to dominate the ball. Play LeBron's style of basketball, because with Pop, you are going to play Pop's basketball.
I absolutely believe it's San Antonio. I don't think I think that has everything to do with why LeBron would never have went there.
This nigga spent 10 years in Cleveland.
The Lakers coach, he would have been a Laker. So it didn't matter the style. LeBron wasn't moving his family to fucking San Antonio.
He moved them back to Cleveland from Miami.
Yeah, but he's from Cleveland, so it's like
He's from Akron. He's not from Cleveland.
Where he grew up. It's different.
So let me ride this San Antonio conversation with you, right? You take a player like lifetime talent offensively, the way he can score and handle the ball, and Luka Doncic, and you put him in a Spurs system. He fails. He fails in that system because the system is designed about what's best for the team. When you look at their recent All-Stars and DeJounte Murray, he's an all-star. He's an all-star because of what he did for the team. When you go back and you look at every Spurs coached player, every Popovich coached player, and what happened when they left that basketball organization in San Antonio, that team that they went to flourished. And I think I had to challenge my own memory here, pardon me, but from Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, we got White, who's in Boston right now, who's still in the dance. Everywhere that those Popovich coach players have gone, they have helped that team grow tremendously. And they didn't grow them in the stats. They grew them in their IQ by being in the right place at the right time, by playing a winning style of basketball, unselfish chase downs, unselfish steals. Those are the type of things that have to happen if you're playing with the Spurs. Luka doesn't have the cardio to sprint back on defense like a guy like White would have to do. And you can't be on the court dribbling the ball 1,000 times and then not getting back on defense the way that you need to win championships. That's the reason why I would say he won't flourish in a Spurs environment. The system says you will work hard or you will sit and watch.
No, that's absolutely true. Like I can 100% agree with that. First of all, he's just not in shape enough to really do it. But
Yeah,
second,
he's more. What Cowherd said this week. He's more mellow and hardened.
that's fair.
I mean, because he shows up. He shows up out of
That's
shape.
super fair. I think his stats are obviously better than. Well, Harden's stats were really outrageous.
Better than Melo's. Yeah, he's less athletic. James Harden.
Melo never averaged 7. Melo might have his career high in assists might have been 4 in a season. It's not like Melo was really passing the ball like that. I mean,
but that his game is catching shoots and jabbing score. Like that, that's
Melo,
been his game. That he's been that way since he was a young Syracuse. He was even when he went to the prep school after Oak Hill.
yeah.
But
it was the same game.
Now these guys are much better two-way players, but isn't it odd? Because just like you said, brought up with the Spurs in that system, Ume Udoka obviously is a former Spurs player. His time in the NBA, he played the most time there, and I believe he was an assistant.
Yeah,
with Pop at one point. So it's kind of odd because when you look at the Celtics, they do play kind of that Spurs brand of basketball, and you've got a guy like Tatum who is. And I don't want to get crucified for saying this. I'm not comparing him to him and saying that that's who he reminds me of. But in terms of his body and like kind of just the way he does stuff, Jayson Tatum, when he's on, reminds me a lot of Kobe. Like of all the players in the NBA, like people were trying to do Devin Booker. I don't see the Kobe with Devin Booker. With Jayson Tatum, I actually kind of see it. Like I can. So he's no Kobe.
So here's the thing about the Kobe guys, right? Jayson Tatum's a little bit bigger. He's not nearly as athletic as Kobe was. He doesn't have the explosion that Kobe had.
He's not a young Kobe.
No, but he gives me you can say older Kobe vibes, but still not. I don't think he's the dog on defense. I don't think he's just a dog that Kobe was.
He's not as good of a he doesn't have that. But you know what? He had guys in the NBA that have that.
You can tell he worked out with Kobe and Kobe taught him some stuff. But like the Kobe comparisons, I don't like them because Kobe is
a one-of-a-kind player.
He's a damn near an MJ clone. And for me to say Jayson Tatum and MJ, God please, I was repeating something. I don't think that, And you know how I feel about MJ.
That's blasphemy.
Yes,
I always when it comes to Tatum, I've always given him a Jamal Crawford look. And not necessarily because of the dynamic crossovers that Crawford has. It's not about that part. It's about his ability to score from anywhere on the floor and his ability to get hot in any situation. He can be on the bench from foul trouble, come back in, immediate spark, and give you 12 quick ones. He can take anyone off the dribble. He can score from just about everywhere on the floor in a very Jamal Crawford sense. But where he doesn't show up is when you need him.
They look and
that was great.
It was I wasn't expecting that. That was kind of from left field in terms of
but that was great. You took us out to left field and you still brought us back home. That's some good shit, Wayne.
That's why I say Jamal Crawford. Like if you look at Jamal Crawford play, he'll come out and he'll give you a 50 piece. From the bench with ease. And then when you need them.
And I think that when you're looking at the greats, that's why once they announced the first team All-NBA, second,
one of the worst first team All-NBA teams I've ever seen in my life. Second team. We
heard you're taking Devin Booker. And look, but we both agreed that Devin Booker would get that spot. Now, Jayson Tatum was not somebody either of us, I don't think had.
I don't think I had him there, but I wasn't shocked. I wasn't
either. We pretty much. Well, you took Embiid over Jokic, but that was also I was like, Jokic is going to win MVP. So no way he gets it over that, which that's another argument too. A lot of people want to wonder, should the all NBA teams be positionless and we just pick the 5 best players, second best 5, and then the third best 5, as opposed to trying to make it out to be, because the NBA is damn near positionless anyways at this point.
No, it's not. That's a fallacy.
Damn near is though. How many true centers are there in the NBA? 6?
Well, hold on. What? Now, this part is important because we use the language of true, right? Now, I was born in the 80s. That's the era of basketball that I started watching and growing up through. What they call a true center, what they call a true point guard, true shooting guard, the style of basketball, the art of the game is different. The placement is different of players. So, example, some people will look at a guy like Steph Curry and say, well, he's not really a point guard, he's a shooting guard. No, he's a point guard. He's a point guard. He's missing some things to be a true shooting guard. And the things that he's missing is the size and the length.
But think about it this way, too. Allen Iverson was listed as a 2-guard because Eric Snow used to be the point guard. That was who they were listing as the point guard. It was Eric Snow, and then it was Allen Iverson. Now, Allen Iverson was probably shorter than
we're talking.
But
we're talking a 20-year difference.
That's
like
true.
Iverson came in the league in what? 96, 97, whenever he left Georgetown.
96.
Yeah. We're talking a huge difference in generations as the art has transformed, because you can take an Aaron McKee and put him at point guard with Iverson at the 2 because Aaron couldn't shoot.
Aaron McKee was the 6th man of the year.
Aaron McKee couldn't play in the league today.
He couldn't. Matter of fact, and we talked about
exactly.
We talked about that shit too. We talked about the worst finals team. I said that Sixers team was much worse than that Cavs team. Believe it or not.
So I go there because understanding that when we say true this and true that, true is what the system demands, right? If you are running a Popovich system where you have Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and whoever else we want to throw in there, Steve Kerr, Robinson's the 5, Duncan's the 4, right? Like that's automatically the way we're going to look at it because Robinson's 7 foot, Duncan is 6'11",
and Dave was on the team first, and he was the center. And even though Tim is 6'10",
6'10", 6'11",
6'11",
yeah.
Dave Robinson's 7 feet, and you throw in, you could put Elliott, fucking
all of them.
Yeah. Just however you want to put that, Avery Johnson, whomever.
So, but what we called a true center was really back then when I watched basketball, what they called a true center was the person with the least amount of skill, right? You had a guy that would take his back, put it to the basket. You would spice it up with a Olajuwon who has some fancy feet work. But the true center back then, was the guy with the least amount. He was the least coordinated guy on the court. He could take it, he can drop step, he can hook. That's about it. He can get some rebounds.
But
now you take a guy 20 years later that said, hey, Mom, I'm going to take some dance classes because I want to be able to make sure I can get out on the court and move. So I'm in ballet class. I'm taking jazz and tap. Oh, yeah, now I can hit this step back. Now I can do a masterful up and under. Oh, yeah, and by the way, if I get you on the wing and I can hit you with a jab step, I can also go by you because the art of the game allowed them to change and do that.
Certain teams have such unique setups, though, too. I mean, I look back as recent as 2010, right? You look at this. When the Lakers got Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum was always hurt, right? Before they got Pau. And we knew that there was this potential with Bynum because they drafted him. I think, was he the youngest? He had been the youngest since Kobe, basically drafted. But point being, they got Pau Gasol. They went to the finals that year when they traded for him midseason. And then when they got Bynum back and Bynum was healthy, because Bynum was healthy for 2 years where we got big shit. That's why Philly paid him all that goddamn money to be there. You had 2 guys that were basically twin towers. They were 7 foot. Both of them were basically 7 feet. But, of course, Powell wasn't looked at as the center. He's the power forward because of the European style, A. But, B, he was a much better, especially when they did them high-lows. That Lakers team was that team was very good. But nonetheless, I just think that the positionless aspect of it for the All-NBA teams and why I think it makes a lot of sense is Joel Embiid finished second in MVP voting. Should he really be second team All-NBA or should he be first?
Yeah, he was the second best. He was the second best player at his position.
Yeah, and like I said, you interchange guys like that because if he was on the floor last year with Dwight Howard would be looked at as the center and he would be looked at as the power forward. And so it's just I don't know. It's positionless basketball.
It sounds like here's what we're sounding like we're doing. We're trying to
forward running point.
That sounds like we're trying to make things easier for people instead of saying hey,
Jalen Brunson's the 2 on the Mavericks, and he's fucking 6 feet 6'1", but Luka's 6'8". I'm just saying it's positionless basketball.
No, it's not positionless basketball. Just the positions are more murky than they used to be.
And I hear both of your positions. I look at it as not positionless basketball, but it's about your skill set. Can you imagine Luka Doncic having to move off the basketball? Imagine him having to curl off of a screen. Imagine him having to be the pin down guy. The skill set isn't there.
So
Brunson has the skill set. Say it again.
No, I said because his game is so ISO. Like his game is like
ISO high pick and roll. That's all.
Yeah, he's straight ISO.
So what do I do? With that talent, right? As an artist, I have markers, I have crayons, I have color pencils. I am going to make this thing work. I'm going to get this thing together. So, Brunson, you can actually move off the ball. You are a threat to not have to dribble 10 times before you shoot. Hey, man, we're going to use your skill set to shift you in order for him because that's the greater good of the team. But it's not that it's positionless, it's that that's the skill set. Because if you put a guy like Luka on a team with a Giannis or on a team with a Ja, it's a different ballgame.
Well, and here's the thing. The requirements in order to be a top end team haven't really changed, right? You still need to get consistent buckets. You still need to have shooting. You still need to have rebounding. You still need to have defense. Where we used to try to box it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you are in this position, you do this. Now we go, hey, you know what? You got a threes body, but you got a ones game. So we're going to let you be the threes body and run the one. Oh, you got a ones game. You got a ones body, but you play like a wing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put you off ball. We're gonna let you work, and not that it's not positionless. It's just the positions have changed.
But it is.
Pete, do me a favor. Hold on, Pete. Define a three for me. What is a three? What is a three in basketball? What skill set are you looking for from a three in basketball?
If you look at a small forward, you're thinking wing, right? I mean, that's kind of the first thing. But now, to me, like a three can play the 4 too, and they can obviously be the 2 depending on if they're a good shooter or not. They can play the 2. There could be a tall 2, but you typically, I know that when I've always looked at positions, you go by height. That's kind of how everybody always has put guys into a position. It's like, well, he's a small forward. 6'7" to 6'8" is kind of like what the small forward range is. Power forward, bigger body, maybe because your center could be tall. Right? Like, I would think that Karl Malone was bigger than Greg Ostertag. He wasn't taller, but he was bigger. He's a power forward. And he's the true definition of a power forward. Like, but the center being the tallest player on the team, whether they're skinny, big, or whatever. Now that those dynamics don't work, because even with Luka, even if Luka runs the point and Jalen Brunson's only 6 feet, 6'1" on a good day, on defense, Jalen Brunson's still guarding Steph Curry.
Luka,
you know what I mean? Luka is guarding Andrew Wiggins. That's why he got dunked on. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's who he's guarding on.
He got dunked on in the help. That was a help dunk.
But here's the thing, Luka can't. Luka can't guard anybody. He can't. Who can he guard?
Like did they didn't announce the all defensive teams yesterday, did they? I know they did.
No, they got announced did they get announced a little while? They got announced last week.
Let me see who's on these all defensive.
Luka can't guard anybody in the NBA.
There's not a third team for all defense?
No. Luka can only guard a 3 and he can guard PJ Tucker.
So Giannis, but see, think about it. And we talked about this last week, Lee. Some people can look at Giannis and say that he is practically a center, right? Some people look at him kind of like that. That like
he's whatever he wants to be.
He's listed when he got drafted. He was listed as a small forward.
He was also like 6'8" when he got drafted.
That's what they look. That nigga is legit. He's 6'8".
No, he's grown. He's grown. But hold on. Let me spin this positionless thing real quick, right? Or this basketball fit, because that's kind of what we're talking about. Basketball fit. Wayne, we can barely see your face.
Oh, my bad.
You good?
Wait. Just to even talk about this all defensive first team looks positionless to me.
Hold on.
Marcus Smart's a point guard, I guess.
But Marcus Smart plays on a team with a great team defensive scheme. So, like, all defense, and Wayne and I were having a conversation off mic or before we started recording about defense. It's so hard to watch and evaluate defense because of all the things that like you don't see. And I look at defensive player of the year, all defense, and a lot of it is these bullshit defensive metrics because a lot of starters on good teams have a high defensive rating because they're just starters, not because they play good defense.
But I'm just saying, if you look at the all defensive first team, it looks super positionless to me. You got Marcus Smart,
point guard.
Bridges. Bridges is not the 2 on he's the 3. And Crowder is like the 4 and Aiden's the 5. But they had those are your guards, I'm guessing. It's those 2. And then even your front court is Jaren Jackson, Rudy Gobert, and Giannis. All those guys are 6'10", you know what I mean, or and above. Rudy's a legit
two forwards and a center.
Yeah, because they got Steven Adams in Memphis, but like Jaren Jackson was playing center. Like he's played center at Michigan State, and before they got Steven Adams, he was the center.
Draymond plays small ball center. He plays forward and he initiates the offense.
This sounds like a bullshit technicality. I'm just saying, more so this all defensive team that I'm looking at, this looks positionless to me. It looks like they picked out the 5. Now, I'm not saying give me 4 centers on the all defensive or any all NBA team. That's
most of these centers can't play defense. They get most of these centers. Hey, Rudy Gobert too. He's a great defensive center. Yeah, he gets help side. He gets help side blocks and he grabs a bunch of rebounds because he's 7'3". He's under the goal. A lot of these big men don't play defense.
Ben Wallace, right? Ben Wallace won 4 defensive player of the year. Ben Wallace was 6'9", playing center.
Ben Wallace could switch.
He could, but even when they picked up Rasheed Wallace, I think Rasheed Wallace is taller than Ben Wallace.
Rasheed was like 6'11", 7 foot. Yeah. Ben Wallace was 6'9",
and think about it, and Rasheed Wallace is a player that could play in today's NBA. Too.
Rasheed Wallace would be
because he could shoot.
Rasheed Wallace would be better in today's NBA than he was in his NBA because he would have been allowed to do what he did best.
Him and Lamar Odom.
Don't get me going. Like that's my guy.
Bro, I love Lamar Odom.
No, I'm saying like LO. Okay, let's circle back. Let's circle back.
All right, Celtics in fucking 6, fucking Warriors in 5, right?
Yeah, and I don't even want to make finals. What you got, Wayne?
If Jimmy gets that shot in his knees, if he goes and he pulls a 1990s, goddamn, from the program, Omar Epps type energy, and he says, "Give me the shot, coach." He's going to come out. He's going to have 2 40-point nights, and it's going to be hell on wheels. That's if he decides to take the shot. I don't have the Celtics wrapping it up in 6. I think it's going back to Miami. I do believe that Dallas is dead, but I think I have confidence that Jimmy's going to go down with a 40-point. He's going to have a 40-point night. Bam is going to get his head out of his tail. Say it again.
I say he's going to have his LeBron game 6 in Boston, like when the Heat were down before. Remember they went to Boston, down 3-2, and everybody. This was the second year of the Big Two.
Yeah.
And if they lost that series, the thought was, they already lost in the finals to Dallas the year before. Everybody, it was, and the way that LeBron and them, because LeBron changed free agency forever, the way these guys signed those deals, the thought was if they lost that game, first of all, LeBron's legacy, he was going to take a hit, man.
Hey, if was a 5th, we'd all be drunk. I don't want to hear nothing about that if shit.
But specifically for Jimmy, though. For Jimmy and the Heat, because I don't like muddying his name with the other guys. I think Jimmy's going to go in the TD Garden. He's going to put on one hell of a show if he tells them to give me the shot. Unfortunately, if he does this, it's going to make for a horrible NBA Finals because they just don't have the legs to survive a Golden State run. So for the sake of Adams television, I would like to see Golden State and Boston because they have the guns. But for the sake of me enjoying good defensive basketball with a set of dogs on the court, I want to see PJ. I want to see Jimmy and I want to see Bam get out on the floor and dig in when they get to TD Garden tomorrow night.
Wayne, you know who my second favorite basketball player is behind LeBron?
I don't.
Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Like, I love Jimmy. Like,
Your brother plays on the Heat too.
Like, everything about Jimmy. Jimmy plays defense. Jimmy is an asshole. Jimmy drinks Michelob Ultra. Jimmy manipulates referees. Huh?
Jimmy likes country music.
Good for him. I'm not there yet. Jimmy gets to the free throw line.
Judy and the Blowfish song for that commercial.
Jimmy gets to the free throw line. And Wayne,
he's a dog.
Wayne, you've refereed me. You know what I like to do when I play basketball. I want to get to the free throw line. I want to shoot 10, 12 free throws in a men's league game.
I get it.
Hey, Parlay Pete, you know it really sucks when like one of your friends referees you, somebody that you hoop with every day. When you start doing your bullshit to get fouled, they look at you.
Yeah, that's all.
And go, bro. No, I'm not calling
that. The league's like that too. These guys have been in long enough. They know the refs. They might not even hang out with the refs, but they know these refs know them and they know their tendencies and stuff. Right. And that's why like Bron and them be like, that wasn't a foul. Like, you know,
like, bro. And I'm telling you, I would look at Wayne like, hey, come on, man. And he would be like, no, like, I know what you were doing.
Nigga got a whistle and now he's doing this.
Yeah.
But before we pivot real quick, right? Because I want to talk about the importance of like proper team building. And one of the reasons why I'm not as big on Luka and Jokic as most people are it has nothing to do with the talent. It has everything to do with the ability to build around a talent. Okay. So remember, Wayne, we played in that 3-on-3 tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And many would say that our team was not the best team based on like name, image, and likeness, right? Name and faces.
Mm-hmm.
But we was busting everybody's ass because we actually built a team of complementary parts. And it's like, hey, Wayne can get a bucket whenever he wants to. That young boy who actually fucked us in the championship, he was so athletic, he could just do stuff that at your age and willing to, because we had social lives, and my willing to, it just wasn't gonna happen. Like, hey man, yeah, like if I get beat first step, I'm not getting back. Sorry, no, you scored. But it all worked out because the pieces worked together properly. And then like you was getting to the cup, and then I found my 3-point shot that day, which is crazy. But nonetheless, like when you look at these different players, you look at a Luka, you look at a Jokic, and you look at Jokic, and Jokic has great numbers. But like you gotta look beneath the numbers sometimes. Sometimes Jokic gets to score 35 points because the team says, get yours. I don't trust them around you. So I'm going to make them beat me. They're not going to beat me, you know? And you talk about Jokic makes the right play.
Okay.
Jokic makes the right play. He passes the ball. He does this. He does that. I've listened to Austin Rivers talk about it. I've listened to some other players talk about it. And to be perfectly honest with the Joker thing in Denver, I've heard some private conversations about it, right? From players who've like been on the team. And when you hear what actually happens in reality versus what we think we see, it makes you take a step back, because when it's like, hey, everything goes through this person no matter what, take away what the basketball side of it is, it's the personal side of it. And if you got players on the team who go, hey, I can get my own bucket, I don't have to give him the ball every time I need to score, that doesn't always play well in the locker room, you know. Then they text their friends, they tell their friends, hey, I mean, if Denver gonna give you the most money, sure, but if you can get the same bag elsewhere, you're not gonna be able to do what you want to do. And even if that's not what's best for the team each game, when you ain't got happy people, they're not gonna do the other stuff that you want them to do. And that's just life, you know. Like when people aren't happy at work, more times than not, then they're not going the extra mile. So a lot of my Joker pushback is because players are forced to conform to him. And I'm sorry, I have not seen a point center win a championship in the NBA. I've seen a dominant center win.
Exist?
Huh?
How many of them exist?
I've seen a dominant Shaq Right. I've seen Shaq win titles. I've seen Wilt win a title.
And here's the thing, like Magic played center in that
That was a series.
right?
That was a series. Yeah,
but he also was
series.
literally a point guard that played center for not a center that can run the point.
But what I've seen,
he really is. You want to everybody calls Kristaps Porzingis the unicorn. That nigga's the unicorn. Jokic is the unicorn. He has.
But let me conclude real quick. But what I've seen win championships, right, is a dominant big man and a wing athletic scorer who can put the ball in the bucket when I need it, whether it's from 3-point, mid-range, at the cup, or free throw line. That's what I've seen. And then you have the outlier that is Steph Curry. And Steph Curry's 3-point shot is most niggas' layup. Most niggas can contest it layup. That's Steph Curry's 3-point shot. That's what I've seen win championships. So that's why when I push back on Joker, it's not pushing back on his talent. It's pushing back on the ability to win a championship team in that style. When I push back on Luka, I say, you're less athletic James Harden. I've seen this. This doesn't work. That's my pushback on the Euros, not because they're Euros, because the style of play doesn't work. And again, with Luka, he's Harden, he's Westbrook. He's in that same bag.
If you don't have two super duper dominant ass players, yes, typically that star player has got to have the ability to allow his team to team, right? That's why Steph Curry won. Think about it. He got 3 chips. Now, granted, 2 were with Kevin Durant of all people. But at the same time, even the one that he did win, think about it. He ain't got no finals MVP. He knows how to kind of take a step back. And even with this team, it didn't bother him to come off the bench in that first round and
let Jordan Poole eat.
Let Jordan Poole cook, basically. I mean, it didn't bother him. And even in some of those games in Memphis, Clay was the hot hand. Clay was really the one in the Memphis games that was scoring the most points. And so Steph Curry has a selflessness about him that makes him who he is, because he definitely can turn it on and be that guy whenever. If they need the guy to get buckets, it's Steph going to do it.
So, Adam, we talked about this. We had this conversation privately, and we talked about that style of play. Giannis is going to be the guy that I bring to the table as far as that exception goes, because the Bucks don't have a true second superstar. People will say Chris Middleton.
Hell no.
Not really. He's not really a superstar. Drew Holiday had a larger impact on the game, on the series last year when they took the championship. Drew Holiday had a larger impact on the series. Yes, Chris Middleton scored more points, but Drew had a larger impact on the series. PJ had a larger impact on the series. So from a stat perspective, you look at it, you're like, okay, yeah, these guys are doing this. The reason why Steph doesn't have the Finals MVP for your perspective, Pete, is because it's based off of numbers. If you're going to be the guy that we're not going to let beat us, you're not going to get the numbers. So you're going to draw a double team and a trap, extremely hard hedge off of every screen that you come off of when you have the ball. Therefore, all you have to do is hockey assist, and we're going to play winning basketball that way.
But I would be honest. So I thought Steph should have won MVP anyways that year.
In the first one, absolutely.
I thought he should have won anyways. I thought they gave it to Iguodala because he was guarding LeBron the entire time.
And LeBron still cooked, but they lost. But here's the thing. I think the NBA –
some people thought that LeBron should have got Finals MVP, even as the loser.
The NBA media, they get far too much respect for their perception of basketball as being gospel. Because when we talk about these awards, they're the ones who vote on them. And we look at it, and I sit here and say, my eye knows basketball. I've played enough basketball. I've watched enough basketball. I've had enough smart basketball conversations. I've listened to enough people talk basketball to where I say, his numbers don't say that he was the MVP. But, like, shit, Wayne, I mean, and this is very easy for me and you to talk about. When you play against Dre Brooks, and he has a team of decent people, you still got 2 eyes on him. He doesn't have to hit a shot the whole game. But you know, in a game to 12, by ones and twos, he can hit 5 threes in a row. And you be down 10-2, and you ain't playing bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or he can go 0 for nothing. And you still, whoever was guarding him, somebody else was sliding out there just watching, just because you know what happens. And then you might lose 12-8, but that 12-8 wasn't nearly as close as you thought it was because everybody was paying attention to the shooter, and the shooter just didn't get off today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I have a rebuttal for your conversation with Jokic though.
Okay,
So
give it to me.
you mentioned Austin Rivers and the other guys in the locker room and so on and so forth. I want Como se dice
Superstar Jamal Murray?
Basuda. They don't matter, man. And the reason why they don't matter is because he's on teams that his father doesn't want him on. Like you aren't the guy to go into a locker room and say that this isn't going to be good basketball. They had the #1 record in the conference at one point.
So,
what he did go ahead.
Austin didn't say it was bad basketball. Austin was speaking to Joker's genius and how he wanted them to play. And then I took that from what I've watched and then what I've heard from others. And that's where I came up with it, from it being a difficult brand of basketball for other people to want to play.
Oh, okay. Because that's feeding my next statement. My next statement is he plays high IQ basketball. And that's why he can take the Bones Highland and whoever else it is that comes in, and he can still find 9 to 10 assists every game because he's playing high IQ basketball. Hey, let me find this space that y'all can't do anything with me from mid-range, and let me go ahead and be a genius from here. Watch the backdoor cut. Watch that pin down over here. Hey, one ball fake off of you screening, and watch me go directly to the basket for an easy layup, one dribble and go. Or I can just turn and fade away when we're late in the clock and they're playing really hard because you still have to be in the passing lanes in order to stop me from performing, while at the same time trying to make sure you're helping off on those screens. It's a very, very genius system of basketball that they have over there.
And another thing too, when it comes to the Luka Jokic thing, just in terms of, I know how you're kind of comparing them, but like when you look at both of these guys too, look at their personnel. Now, maybe they don't work to their personnel and try and fit as best as they can necessarily with it. But what I'm saying is, if they did play with somebody else, like I threw this out there, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, if somehow, some way, the Portland Trailblazers said, you know what, we'll take superstar Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. for Dame Lillard. If Dame Lillard played with Jokic, you don't think that Jokic's game would change to where, because Dame is an alpha himself, right? We've seen how, and look, and you know what's now crazy? Now that with all three of these guys I'm talking about, Giannis, Jokic, Dame, they've all been to the Western Conference Finals. All of them.
Yeah.
They've all been. Being the guy and not having necessarily a 1B type superstar playing with them. Neither of them. CJ McCollum, nice player.
CJ McCollum and superstar Jamal Murray, they're the same person.
I don't even like the superstar Jamal Murray. It's bubble Jamal Murray, because that's who we're talking about. We're talking about what he did in the bubble. Bubble Jamal Murray, nice player. Michael Porter Jr., tons of promise. Possibly would have been the #1 pick over Ayton if he didn't get hurt in college.
Yeah, got a bad back.
He's good, man. Look, I done seen him take over some games because he's one of those positionless players. He's like 6'10", and he's really a fucking 3.
With a bad back.
1, 2, but he can also be on the floor and be a 4 or 5.
With a bad back.
What the matchup is. Like, he can do that. And so I'm just saying, if these guys played with somebody, and for me, with Jokic, that player would be like Dame.
Okay.
Like an available player. Or even if you put Luka with Brad Beal, you don't think that could work? I think it could.
Who's going to play defense? Neither of them do it.
But at the same time, nobody, I mean, look who's playing defense for Dallas now to where they got this for. Who was playing defense then?
Andy Smith and Reggie Bullock.
There you go. But you don't let
You're not keeping both of them.
You need guys like that on your team. Like even with the Hawks, I'm trying to think last year, who was really that guy? It was Who's the vet they fuck? Solomon Hill.
Yeah, the one who ended LeBron season.
Yeah, but think about it. A guy's getting 10 minutes a game, but he's like this kind of veteran leader, but he does the dirty stuff when he's in the game, and it does kind of change the complexity of the game. I'm just saying, if you put these guys with other 1A type stars, how do we know that they can't change the way that they play but still retain their value on the court with another guy like that?
I guess for me, I'm going to have to see it. I'm going to have to see it because I don't think those 1A stars want to do it, and it's going to take a hell of a recruiting pitch to make it happen.
James doesn't really want to be in Portland.
Huh?
We know that. Neither does Bradley Beal doesn't really want to be in Washington. These guys.
Yeah, but Brad Beal's about to get offered $250 million. He's going to get offered $250 million, and he's going to stay there until he's ready to go.
No other choice.
I mean, I don't blame him. But
money, like.
But here's the thing, man. I sound like the bad guy. I sound like I don't like these guys.
I'm just saying, what would they look like with a guy that was comparable? That's all.
And I would just say,
or semi-comparable, even if it's a little less talented. If they played with another guy, I'm just saying that's how everybody wins titles. Everybody else, Giannis being kind of an outlier himself last year, but he had two guys that could both
comparable.
be
Comparable.
And they fit, they gelled well. And let's keep it 100 too. They shouldn't have even beat fucking the Nets. If James Harden was 100%, the Nets would have won that series.
If we're the fifth, we'd all be drunk. All I'm saying is find the comparable player who wants to play with them, because I think that
would open the door to playing with Jokic.
And I think that matters. Look at how Devin Booker. Hold on. Look at how Devin Booker, who hasn't done shit in this league but ride CP3's coattail the way he approaches
CP3, for what it's worth, think about it. What did they even trade for him? What did Phoenix trade to get?
Nothing that matter. Let's talk.
So it only made sense that they did that. Monty Williams, better coach than we knew he was a solid coach in New Orleans, but like better coach than we all thought he actually was. DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul does bring leadership. He does bring leadership. There's leadership.
He brings leadership and he brings winning to every team that he goes to.
Exactly. And so, like, I just think that, like, in a low-risk move like that, yes, he, of course, made Devin Booker look a lot better. Like I said, we talked about this too. I compared player A and player B. It was Devin Booker and Colin Sexton. Their stats were fucking identical. They were identical. Statistically, those guys are the same player, and Colin was a much better three-point shooter.
But
what is he? 3 inches short?
Hold on, but the media likes Devin Booker because he worked out with Kobe a couple of times, and he writes Mamba mentality on the side of his Kobe's, and he plays alongside CP3, who the NBA media absolutely fucking loves, and I love CP3, so I'm not gonna act like So let's talk about CP3. I think CP3 is going to be remembered as, he's going to be in that Charles Barkley, Dan Marino conversation. It's one of the greatest to never win a ring. And I think that the issue with CP3, and Wayne's beat this into my head, is that in June, it's not his time. February, March, April, even May, he's that guy. But like late May, June, he don't know it. June, he's saying June once, but late May, it's not him. And it's just weird. It's just weird thing for me to kind of like try to play with and try to even understand, because what he did in OKC, you go, holy shit, y'all were a 4 or 5 seed, and then you look at what he even in Houston, you go, he got the Houston Daryl Morey program to the best that it ever was, and then he got hurt. He had the Clippers at the best they've ever been. I don't care about the team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year. No. The best Clippers teams were CP3 teams, and you go, damn. But what do you have to show from it? And then I sit here and I call different players losers for not winning rings. But then I don't want to call CP3 a loser because I go, well, I see what you're elevating.
You're a fan of CP3 too.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So now you're showing your biases.
I have biases, and I try to be open about my biases.
No.
And I look at CP3 and I go, no, he's not a loser. And he plays smart basketball. He does the right things. And then I ask myself, who has CP3 been paired with that
James
properly
Harden.
complements him in order to win a championship?
James Harden. They could have won.
And he got hurt.
Well, that's a part of the.
Well, no. I know. And I'm not saying he got – when I say he got hurt, I don't say that like – I don't go, that's no excuse because, hey, if I need you to show up to work at 7 o'clock, I don't care what your reason is. If you don't show up at 7 o'clock, we're
fired.
Not that you're fired. We're just not in our best position to succeed today.
I will fire a motherfucker over
It's tough, right? Because
now, not to cut you off, I just wanted to bring up because it's specifically a comment you made that I liked on IG, which actually, let me go ahead and give you a follow, sir. But nonetheless, you put this under the post when he talked about Luka. You said deep sigh. So your position for winning basketball is rings only now. Got it. Unless you are on a team with Steph, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, or Giannis the past 10 years or so, you don't get the title of winning basketball. And CP3 has been in the league how many years? 16?
15.
15? Then this is what I meant by the biasness. I think that there's clearly got to be some sort of a biasness. Because if you're going to talk about Luka.
No, there's a bias. I will tell you. I built a team around CP3
last year.
Hold on. I will build a team around CP3 before I would build a team around Kawhi, and Kawhi has 2 rings and CP3 has none.
Really?
I just saw. I'm watching what's happening in LA when you build a team around Kawhi.
They're 55-plus win teams every time when he's healthy. Now, granted, he played with Tim, but think about it. People forget Kawhi played with old. He played with those guys were old. Those guys were all 35-plus when he was like
when he won his championship there. He was a role player.
And he won fucking finals MVP.
He was a role player.
He didn't shut LeBron down, but he slowed LeBron down.
His role was MVP.
He did what he needed to do. He didn't have to average 25 points a game.
There was never a team built around Kawhi Leonard until he got to the Clippers.
2 games to under 30 was good enough.
The only team that's ever been built around Kawhi Leonard was that Clippers team. He's not a centerpiece.
Here's the catch, right? Here's the catch for the argument for centerpieces, right? That centerpieces don't win that way. It's just not the way that the championships are won. When you take a look at the draft that brought Steph Curry to Golden State, no one drafted him as the centerpiece. He grew into a great talent. Monte Ellis looked at him and said, "Sit down. It's not your time yet." Like the conversation behind the centerpiece, it's a struggle for Jokic. It's going to be a struggle for Kawhi, so on and so forth, because that's just not the way that the game unfolds. You gave a good gem earlier where you said the champion requires a dominant big and a solid wing player. History agrees with you. You need a solid big, you need a dominant wing. History agrees with you. But in this era of basketball, the pairing or building around somebody, your team's going to fall apart every time. Who do you build? Who do you bring in for Ja Morant?
I don't talk about Ja on this podcast.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you bring in for him?
No, I know what he's saying. He's saying what's the ideal complementary piece that you bring in for Ja Morant, and that ideal piece is Jaren Jackson, but Jaren Jackson's not good enough.
Well, you upgrade Jaren Jackson. I think a guy like, and this is just spitballing because I'm just thinking about it as soon as possible. An ideal piece, like let's say they're not going to do this, but Jaren Jackson just made all defensive first teams, so clearly there's value there. He's still on a rookie deal, even though I know his extensions do too, because he's the same class as Colin and Trey and Luka. Or did they already pay him? Did they pay him? They might already pay him.
Maybe.
I don't remember him getting.
No, Ja needs Clay. I don't know what Clay looks like because not specifically Klay Thompson, but you need the off-ball catch and shoot shooter who doesn't want to play on the ball, who can play defense.
Bogdanovich a very poor version of Klay Thompson. Like, wouldn't you say that he's more of that than Kevin Huerter is to Trae Young? I think Bogey is more like Klay, in terms because he's a knockdown shooter.
I mean, yeah, we thought we were going to get that with Cam Reddish, but let me get back to Wayne's centerpiece talk, because there aren't many centerpieces. It's hard to build a team around a centerpiece. Like that's the thing.
It takes a special kind of centerpiece.
But hold on. When we talk about players in the conversations with the few centerpieces of all time, right? I'm going to hold them to that centerpiece standard, even though I know when I start the argument that you get 1 to 2 centerpieces per generation. Hey, Kevin Durant is not a championship centerpiece. Yeah, he's not. He's not a championship centerpiece. When you talk about championship centerpieces, you talk about a LeBron James, where the team is built around him and what he does. Centerpiece. When you talk about Steph Curry, team built around him and what he does. Centerpiece. You talk about your Tim Duncan's, team built around him and what he does. Centerpiece.
Is Kobe a centerpiece?
Absolutely. Because you build a team around Kobe, 2008 to 2010, centerpiece.
They but they put the appropriate pieces that Kobe needed. He didn't.
Right. 2009, 2010. Sorry. Yeah, the centerpiece. He was the centerpiece of that team. Shaq.
And they're an example of a championship team too. I got to spit my Kobe shit. They're an example of a team. They won with Trevor. Trevor was the younger. Trevor went and got paid. That's why Trevor left. Right. Trevor got paid. That's what championship they lose. They're going to lose a piece. Then they bring in Ron Artest.
Ron was better than Trevor.
Well, he definitely brought more on the defensive end, but even at an older age. But think about it, he's the key reason he the one that made the big shot.
Now he made the big three he made the big three. No, Ron.
And in game 1, I think it was game 1 of the NBA Finals was when, or maybe it was game 7. I don't remember which game, but that's the game where in the very opening tip, he like hooked arms with Paul Pierce. And remember, it they got into a scuffle to start. He set the tone. He's a tone setter. He's the type of guy that so many teams desperately need. That's why PJ Tucker was such a good pickup.
No. Do not disrespect Ron Artest by talking PJ Tucker. Ron Artest.
They're not the same.
Ron Artest was an All NBA player. All defense, All NBA.
I'm just simply saying, in terms of an enforcer / this guy that kind of these guys, Draymond, like these guys all fit that mold. Now, he's not as good as Ron Artest. Ron Artest was an all-star. PJ Tucker's never been an all-star. But Ron Artest also saw his greatest success as a role player.
Ron Artest scored 25 points per game in a season on a winning team. Ron Artest is a bucket. Do not put him in this conversation with these career role players.
Which team? Was that with the Pacers?
04 Pacers. 04 Pacers.
Okay, so when Jermaine O'Neal was barely playing, who they have? Jamal Tinsley, Scott Pollard was probably on one of those teams after Sacramento. I'm just remembering.
What was it? Hold on. His 04?
Jalen Rose might have still been there. Reggie Miller was probably on his last leg.
But no, I want to say the 04 team was the team that should have won a ring. They were that close.
Yeah, but that was the year they got to the fight.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, like Ron Artest ain't them. I know what you mean because of the role he played with the Lakers, but that's not who Ron Artest was. What else you want to talk about? I wish Wayne was here. Can we talk a little Kyrie? I got something for you.
We can talk about that contract situation because it sounds like Brooklyn doesn't want to give it to him.
So before we get there, Kyrie Irving on social causes and on his personal self is everything that LeBron James can't be. Kyrie Irving has the status and the cachet to be able to say things that people, the powers that be, don't really like, but he also has the branding that says, hey, it's worth having you on our side because you sell shoes, you push P, you know what I mean? You push products. We need you here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But at the same time, he's not the level of player of a LeBron, of a Steph Curry.
He's a tier below.
Yeah, he's a tier below, maybe 2 tiers below. Depends on who you ask. No, I'm just saying depends on who you ask, right? Which allows him to be a bit more liberal with his views and to be able to voice them and to push back on mainstream society.
Fair.
So I was listening to Kyrie talk about his life, his where he's at, why he does what he does on the I Am Athlete podcast. And anytime Kyrie's on a podcast, I go listen. Because I'm super interested in what Kyrie has to say. Because Kyrie is so much anti-mainstream now. And he talked about I
said he's not establishment. Like he is completely
he's not. And he talked about what brought him there. He was like, hey man, like he's part Native American. He started doing his homework into his genealogy. And he just got in touch with his history and his roots. And because of that, he pushes back on the mainstream shit. And people don't like it. And he don't get why. And here's what I feel. I feel like he doesn't understand why people get bothered by him not conforming to what they believe in when it doesn't affect them.
He's low-key the real Colin Kaepernick, if that makes any sense. Oh, which that's another topic.
I love you, baby. I love you, baby.
Well, according to AB said that ain't a real nigga.
Hey, Wayne. What you just missed was Parlay Pete said that Kyrie Irving is the real Colin Kaepernick.
In what way?
Obviously, I think what Colin did, he took a stance for social injustice for
himself,
black people as a whole, right? That was kind of what he sold. That's what was getting sold, was that this is because unarmed black, not just men but women, are getting shot, and we're not doing anything about it. That was the whole point, right? I think when they asked Jay-Z, he's like, Roddy. Somebody asked him a question in that meeting with Roddy Goodell. He's like, can we stop talking about kneeling? And then he's like, they were kneeling. Like Jay-Z went around the room and asked him about. He's like, you know why he was kneeling? He's like, okay, so this is not about kneeling. But with Cap was a struggling, and granted, I'm a believer that Cap, not to completely switch sides on this conversation, but I'm a believer that Cap certainly meant good with what he was doing. I don't believe that he was literally just doing it all for himself. I really don't think that was the case. But at the same time, it doesn't seem I have no idea. Huh?
He took the money.
He did take the money, and that was another part. Until it came out, nobody knew that Nike was paying him that entire time. And to me, he's more of an agenda pusher, and it is more about him, and he wants to create this narrative around him, and it puts him in that league of people. Yesterday when we talked in the group, when I said Michael Jackson is the most irreplaceable nigga of all time, I meant that. I truly meant it. Because even with somebody like Kaepernick, I feel like is trying to follow down this Jackie Robinson, Bill Russell. He's trying to, but that's kind of what he's trying to do. That's exactly what that was.
It is what he's trying to do. And while we're here, we're talking about Kyrie and Cap. Kyrie stood on what he believed in, right? He said he wasn't taking the vax for his own reasons. He said, I'm not going to tell you not to take it.
Social injustice too. Kyrie.
Yeah. And Kyrie ain't vaxxed. And he played because he believed in what he believed in. Cap took the plea deal. It's okay to take the plea deal, but don't tell me you standing 10 toes down and then you take the plea. That's all I'm saying. It's okay not to be 10 toes. Okay, like we all waver when situations dictate. That's fine. But don't say you're this guy fighting for the cause. And then when you have other people like Malcolm Butler fighting for the same thing you're fighting for, but they're going through different means to get it done. Maybe they're using honey instead of vinegar, and you want to push back on them and say, hey, I'm not by no means affiliated with y'all. That's fine not to be affiliated with them. That's totally okay. It's okay. But to dismiss them and not take phone calls, not take meetings, it's like, well, is it about the cause or is it about you being the face of the cause? When you talk about the treating the draft being like a slave auction, well, what the hell are you doing by taking a tryout with the Oakland, or excuse me, the Vegas Raiders this week? You going out there to show off your skills so you can be auctioned off, right? Because if the Raiders don't want you, but you have good film, somebody else may come and get you. So Kaepernick be saying a lot of stuff and be doing some of the same, some different things. And I go, what's your edge? Like, are you, and people may not like this, are you mixed kid raised by adopted white family trying to prove your blackness?
Cap is Cap is what he is.
I think, did we do a topic on that or did I do it by myself?
I'm sure that we touched it.
It's been done on this podcast that Cap is Cap.
Cap is Cap. That's exactly what it is. Cap's Cap.
And let's pull this conversation out a little bit, right? We've all met the person who wanted to prove their blackness, right? Mm-hmm. And then they go above and beyond to prove how black they are and how in touch they are with black stuff. And you go, bruh, nigga, I ain't even worried about that shit. What are you doing? Sean King.
Well, because you don't really know shit about, like,
Sean King.
You mean Morehouse man, Sean King?
I mean, y'all must have went there together. I don't know him to have gone to Morehouse.
Morehouse man, Sean King.
But yeah, I mean, even him, he seems like one who's always trying to prove his blackness to the outside world. And it's like, bro.
But Cap's a similar way.
Yeah.
But think about it, Cap is similar because I think, well, first of all, he's a doctor, right? And both of his adoptive parents are white. And I don't know what Cap is, like, by blood, like if he's mixed or I think he is actually mixed.
I think he's mixed.
I think he's mixed as well, but he's definitely his adoptive parents. I know they're both white. And so,
hey, bro. Hey, real quick, listen to this. If you when you Google Colin Kaepernick, he comes up as American civil rights activist.
I'm telling you, but that's why I brought up Jackie Robinson, like these people, Jim Brown. Like, think about how big these guys were in the late '60s, early '70s. Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, these guys, Jackie Robinson, these guys were looked at as like, yeah, we are athletes, but they are kind of some of the first voices. Jack Johnson, even as a boxer. Now, Jack, being a boxer, more like Floyd a little, because he was sleeping with white women. I mean, I've watched some docs on him, and if any of that stuff is true, he was a wild boy back then. And he's a nigga in the 20s and 30s doing this. So, like, he was on a different level from that. But he also was somebody that, he still voiced his opinion as a black man. Wayne has got some serious technical difficulties.
Bruh, like they knocked out the internet in his neighborhood today.
Really?
Yeah. So he's going off straight cell phone reception.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, use your hotspot on your phone.
But and I think Colin went. I think he went too far trying to be a martyr without really being a martyr. You know what I mean?
Because he never really was one. All he did was take a knee. What did Kyrie do? Kyrie, for his beliefs, now granted, this wasn't for
hey, well, hold on. Cap did put money to causes to support black people. Let's not just say he took a knee.
They all do, I guess, technically.
Well, yeah, they don't want to pay taxes.
What do we know about it? What do we know about it? And not that we have to know about it. It's irrelevant. I'm sure there are plenty of players, entertainers, could be, politicians. Anyone.
I mean, we got Jay-Z setting the playlist for the Super Bowl. Come on now.
Freedom fighter. Jew says that that's all he does. He said that's all Jew did. They picked that nigga out to do a playlist for the Super Bowl. That's hilarious because it's kind of true on the surface level when you look at it. Like you're like, you know what? It does seem like he has a lot of influence on that halftime show. But I don't know what Jay-Z does with the NFL. And I'm sure that they're paying him, I guess, because nobody does anything for free. But it's Hov,
Yeah,
so
I'm tired of Jay-Z being my voice in too many rooms. I like his music. That's about it.
Jay-Z's like one of the people that everybody fucks with. For the most part. You probably liked his music. There's very few people that, man, Jay-Z's music was fucking garbage. Nobody thinks that for the most part.
People who think Jay-Z's music is just garbage, I just feel like
they have bad taste in rap because he can rap. We all know that. But not to mention just the careers he spawned.
Hey, Wayne, what's your stance on Jay-Z? Because you were outside for Jay-Z. Oh well, another one bites the dust.
How old is Wayne? If he said he grew up in the 80s,
he's damn near 40.
He's 40?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's like my oldest brother's age.
Yeah.
He definitely 96. I mean, he was probably a freshman in high school or 8th grade or something.
Yeah, something like that. He was outside. He actually needs to go back outside because that's where he had his best reception at.
He does. He was there for a long time. Love that. How you just that's beautiful. But
hey, man, I'm a wordsmith, man.
Yeah.
We had a very extended conversation in the group yesterday, and even today, talking about gun control. And we talked about what happened in Texas this week, yesterday. It's sad, it's unfortunate. And kind of like when we talked about what happened in Buffalo, when it comes to things like this, I don't really care about the why. It's a fuck you to me. Like to me, you're just a terrible person. And I'm not in the business of figuring out why you did what you did or trying to give you some type of benefit of the doubt, because there is none.
Benefit of the doubt.
No, you suck.
Let me tell you, this boy could have been raped by one of the teachers the teacher that he killed. Let's say that even happened. No, seriously.
Okay.
Hypothetically, let's just say that happened. It's no excuse. It doesn't really matter.
Those kids did nothing to you.
Nothing to do with you. Exactly. They had nothing to fucking do with you. And then we, as this thing is trickling out, I think the sickest part of this is it really is kind of the police's handling of it. Obviously, we can't deflect attention to them. At the end of the day, the gunman is fuck them.
Here's the thing. No, you're right. The gunman is the gunman is liable for what he did.
Yeah,
but guess what?
To do with the police, but still, the police have a job, and that's why you are that. Because this is a situation, unfortunately, in the United States. This happens a lot. It's happened a lot, too many times. And the fact that you're in that position and you guys were, man, that was probably the hardest part for me to understand, that they were in that building for over 30 minutes with this boy in that classroom, and ain't nobody break down the door. And I'm talking with Justice about this, and I'm like, first of all, we seen SWAT break into too many niggas' homes and bust down doors. They don't know if kids are in there. Whoever's house you bust down, they might have kids or something. And I understand the idea of, if we bust down, we don't want to necessarily kill a kid accidentally too, to go along with it. Fuck all that. Throw that shit out the window. You need to get in there and get that guy. And our thought was that maybe the police officers were like, man, we don't get paid enough for this. And because they probably didn't have proper training to even handle a situation like that, more than likely. And I'm talking about a school shooter, right? Specifically. And that was probably the most disheartening part of this whole thing, man. I could not believe that them people were there for this stuff went on for over an hour, dog. And
Hey, you want to know? You want to know what hurt me? So I was listening to the Daily this morning podcast. Shout out to Josh Holdsey, New York Times, I think, or one of the New York Times. They put it out, and I was listening to them talk about it towards the end, and they said he drove his car into like a barricade at the school, and he was confronted by the armed school security officer, and he still got in the school. And I go, what? Because there's been talks of we need more guns in schools, teachers need guns, genders need guns, lunch ladies need guns, principals need guns, and I'm sitting there like, hey man, look here. Let me tell you something about the job that I once worked in my life, where everybody who works in that job is taught to use a gun and protect themselves and protect people and protect causes much greater than them. You take the ones who don't use the guns day to day, they're not ready to make that decision. They don't know what they'll do in that decision because they're not training to that. Like if your job is to be an administrative person and you're worried about administrative matters and record keeping day in and day out, and you just do your annual shooting, you're not ready to make a decision like that on a dime.
What
so
kind
hold
of
on, we're gonna
be living in to where that this is even a fucking discussion though? Like to where, what the fuck do you mean? These people possibly they need to care. I get why it would come up, but the point is that it's fucking school, man. Okay, are we gonna give the cashiers at the grocery store? Do they need to be carrying too? I mean, seriously, these are everyday things.
Only in America.
Be carrying. Basically, everybody need to be carrying. Is what it sounds like.
Only in America do we say we need more guns to stop gun violence.
Now we need to, first of all, and I agree. Even before this, one of the things I've always never understood: why do we have certain guns legal for sale? There's only 3 types of guns that should be out there, in my opinion: a pistol of some sort, revolver / pistol, a shotgun. I can understand why you might want a shotgun, and then a hunting rifle. Aside from that, why the fuck do we have AK? Like Uzis, that will spray. These things that will spray that can kill. What is the point of having those guns? Is just my curiosity. Like, what would be if we're talking about protection? What would truly be the reason to have something that is meant to kill multiple people? That's up. And look, we also know that people will get their hands on things illegally. That's just true in nature. That's why drugs are still a thing. Like everybody can get their hands on a lot of stuff.
Let me read
why
something.
It's illegal for him to go buy this a couple weeks ago because he just turned 18.
Let me read something to you because I think it's crazy that you can buy an AR-15 at 18, but you got to be 21 to carry a pistol.
It's wild.
So I did some research into the AR-15 thing, right? I got friends who have ARs, and I've asked them, I go, why do you have an AR? And pretty much because I want it. Like only one person has given me a legitimate reason why they carry an AR-15, okay? And I'm going to read through this article I read this morning about it. It's on thefederalist.com. 10 reasons to own an AR-15. Being armed is your right, and it may be your civic duty. The AR-15 is the most useful firearm with which to defend against every species of criminal usurpation because it's first and foremost, it is a rifle. I read that terribly. Let me see what else we got. The AR-15 is a semi-automatic rifle.
That is what it is.
The AR-15 is one of the most validated rifles in history. The AR-15 is the most modulated rifle in history.
Aren't AK-47s banned here?
I can't speak to that, but more than likely.
Hold on, let me see. Banned.
In most cases, you can fix an AR-15 yourself.
Hold on.
The AR-15 is the rifle most commonly used for defensive firearm training.
That is. I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I just had to look it up. Washington Post, August 31st, 2014. AK-47s got banned then, and it set off a U.S. buying frenzy because they were banned. Now, we know exactly why those guns were fucking banned because they're very similar in a sense of – now, I'm not a gun enthusiast, so I don't know too much about guns.
So I'll tell you, AK-47 is a fully automatic weapon. You can like unload the clip on that thing.
Pick some shit up, snap it back in, and go back to going.
Whereas an AR-15 is semi-automatic. It doesn't go as fast, but it goes fast enough, So here's the thing.
Something like this with people that don't have guns against you.
So here's the thing, right? The only reasonable use of an AR-15 that I've found is for working a farm where you're working a farm / wild boar hunting.
Is it because they're moving so quickly?
They move and they eat bullets and they're vicious.
So are you shooting? If somebody's hunting bear, would it be used with bears as well? Because we know how quick a bear can move, right? And how big a bear is.
I'm gonna look it up, but I think you use something a little bit stronger.
First of all, and then we even have to start questioning that. Why are we hunting bears?
And see, that's
so what are we even hunting some of this stuff for? Too?
I've eaten bear meat before.
Really? How was it?
It was pretty good.
Really, it wasn't gamey.
It was gamey, but it was good. Hey, I actually fried a rabbit I fried a rabbit Saturday.
I don't want I know Peter's gonna fucking hate us. Hey, it's Wayne.
Hey Wayne, we're talking gun control, and you're in Texas where that doesn't exist at all, and we're pretty much speaking to why in the world somebody would need an AR-15. We kind of spoke on why the conversation, and we briefly touched on people talking about needing more guns in schools to protect the school, and I go, only in America do we say more guns stop gun violence.
But then we opened that, and kind of like I told him, not to cut you off, Lee, but kind of like I told him too. So then, we just had the shooting in Buffalo the week before. So then, should the cashiers there and the boy that's stocking the shelves, should he have one too? We can't. It just sounds that's ludicrous. Like that shit's ridiculous to think that. In reality, it needs to be regulated to where, because a majority of these shootings have happened. If we're talking specifically about mass shootings, whether it's at a school or not. What's the common theme? They're all young as fuck. The Vegas shooter was an older man who, funny enough, was like a big gambler too there. But the similar theme, even with them and the 18-year-olds that were doing these shootings, AR-15.
So, yeah, I think it's easy to draw the similarities. I think the real issue isn't the control itself, right? Because you change the age limit, then the person waits till they're of age. That's my perspective. You say, hey, you can't do it till you're 99, and that person's just going to wait till they're 99. The issue is humanity. This is a humanity problem. It's not a control problem with the weapons. It's a control problem with the humans. The human beings are just twisted. The asset itself that they're using, the weapon itself that they're using, you put it in the hands of certain people. Adam, you've carried one. I've carried one. We've used them in our various capacities. It's not us. It's not Wayne. It's not Adam. It's not the weapon. It's a certain type of person. And I think that for me, what I would like to see as a control measure is I would like to increase the consequences for not the individual, because they don't really care, right? But the people around them, mom, sister, brother, whoever, FBI, the people that hear, they see, they're on their list and they don't action. All those consequences for the inaction have to be increased. I don't think the changing the age limits or causing a longer wait period or any of those things are going to help anything, because people are going to do what they have to do to get to a point where they can meet the requirement, whatever the requirement's going to be. That's how sick and twisted some of these people are.
And
the consequence. That's what has to change.
And I'll tell you, that's kind of in my conflict, right? Because I'm a full believer in the scammers are going to scam. the robber's gonna rob, the killer's gonna kill, no matter what, right? And if we put too many hurdles in place for them, we put too many hurdles in place for those who aren't gonna do that and are gonna
Actually need
it or just handle it properly. Like again, I have a few friends who have AR-15s, and they could babysit my kids that I don't have. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that because they own an AR-15, like my kid's gonna end up dead, or my kid's gonna end up finding their AR-15 and doing something irresponsible. Because another thing, I grew up around weapons, right? I've never lived in a house that did not have a weapon in it. And as a child, I was said, hey, that's a shotgun right there. You don't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
If you touch that, you can hurt yourself. And if I catch you touching it, you're going to get hurt. So like, I knew where the guns were. They weren't locked up. I didn't touch them. Unless I was going hunting with my uncles. Then it's like, hey, I'm going to grab the 12 gauge out the closet. I'm going to go get the shells out of the china cabinet because that's where my mama kept her shells at. I'm going to go grab the shells out of there and I'm going hunting. I'll be back in 5 hours, right? And that's what it was, you know? And I also was I was given a BB gun at like 9, you know?
I think the difference here versus those incidences, though, is that these people have bad intentions. Their intentions are bad, and they're going to find a way to take their negative intentions and put them on someone else by whatever means is at their fingertips. Today, it's that weapon. You take all of those weapons, you melt them down, you make them disappear, they will find something new.
Or they'll illegally
blowtorch,
access to
gasoline. Like they are going to find a means to cause corruption.
Wayne, do you watch Atlanta, the show?
I don't, but the blowtorch reference was from Adam's music.
Blowtorch was from Gucci Mane First Day Out.
Blowtorch in the second to last episode of Atlanta this
season. Well, no, like so Wayne
going up to a school. So
no, Wayne gives Gucci Mane hell because he said 2 AK-47s and a blowtorch.
Like, what are we doing? But so I use those examples because people with bad intentions are going to find a way. We look at the major massacres in this nation. We look at the Boston Marathon bombing, another sick action where you take the crock pots or steam cookers or whatever that device was, and you take it and you place it at the end of the race after people have put their blood, sweat, and tears into that race. And then you go and say, all right, this is the moment where I'm going to cause even more devastation. Like, people with bad intentions are going to find a way to do bad things. Community accountability has to be a factor. And the people around you, the people in your circle, it has to be a factor.
And I think accountability has to be a factor, right? Because let me compare this to the Young Thug and Gunna Rico thing going on, right? And they talk about the level of surveillance and wiretapping that had been going on them for almost 10 years now. And the amount of murders that happened under surveillance and wiretap. And I go, hold on. So almost 50 bodies dropped and y'all watched it and y'all knew. That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me.
That's where I'm at with it, right? I have a hard time with listening to a human being tell me that this person was on my radar. I observed, I saw it, I didn't action because it didn't happen yet. If we have to turn this thing into Minority Report and start getting ahead of it in that manner, then okay, we got to start getting ahead of it. Bad intentions are bad intentions. Intent to commit a massacre, yeah, we need to go ahead and chop that one up and put that as a real charge. Let's go ahead and start applying these things to these people with these bad intentions.
And that's what we need to do, because when you look at this shooting, you look at the shooting in Buffalo, there were breadcrumbs before it happened. All breadcrumbs before it happened. So if there are breadcrumbs before the shooting itself happened, you can see everything else. Like, I promise you, something that we talked about on this podcast is going to pop up in our Instagram feed when we start paying attention to it. So if the algorithms can pick that up, why are they not picking up these other things? But let me pivot this conversation to some of the NRA-backed narratives that are coming out of this. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to talk about mental health. And we're going to talk about plussing up mental health to ensure that these things don't happen again. And I think that we just have a flawed view overall of mental health because we haven't understood mental health for so long that we go too far in excusing things for mental health. Like, hey, we know Jimmy Butler's not healthy right now and he's not playing his best basketball, but we still expect him to play like he's Jimmy Butler, right?
Or even better, Paul George, he brought up mental health when he was in the bubble. He just was like, man, I was checking out. Like, first of all, I'm away from my family, all this other stuff. And then, everybody's like, you make fucking $30 million a year, and you talking about you've been away from your family for 2 months. Everybody handles this stuff completely different. And kind of goes back to the bullying thing when the bullying aspect of it. And I said what I said. I said,
you got bullied?
I said, no. I'm saying, but you can compare the two in a sense of everybody in this world has been bullied, whether they believe it or not. Somebody has talked about you in your face. Like, that has happened. That constitute kind of as bullying as far as I'm concerned, because what are you doing that? Like, you're trying to down somebody, and depending on what their self-esteem level is, they can take it how they want, but everybody has practically been bullied before. And it's the same thing with mental health. I believe that we've all went through episodes in our life where maybe we just didn't feel like talking that day. It wasn't that we were depressed even necessarily, but you can be in this space where you're just like, man, I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
No, fuck that. Hey, I've been depressed before, and guess what I did? I woke up and I went to work every single day because I'm saying I had a job to do, and it was important for me to do what I needed to do because I look at mental health like this. You got to work on it. You got to maintain it. And it can always be a reason why you don't get something done. But at the same time, that doesn't change. It doesn't change the expectation. Like, one of the reasons, and I've probably never told Wayne this to his face, but like, one of the reasons why I rock with Wayne so hard, because before we met up in Bahrain, I was in a dark place in life. Super dark place in life. Not borderline suicide dark place, but super dark. Super, super, super dark. But the bonds we built over there, the shit we did, the missions we ran, the food we ate, the brunches we had, all the pods we did, that like gave me a crazy new look on life. You know what I mean? Like, it really changed my life. Like, that Bahrain crew, like, I love y'all. Like, we grew up together because of that year, what we went through and just what we experienced. Like, that really changed my life. Like, shit, me and the woman, we going to meet up with Vez and the woman tomorrow. Can't wait. And we gonna cut a fool.
And think about it, but
I'm gonna lose all my buttons.
That's exactly what this life is about, though, man. I mean, I don't have all the answers. I don't think anyone necessarily does, but at the same time, that's what this stuff's about. You out of town. I love doing this show with you every week. I look forward to it. I love doing this shit with you. I really do. And like, these are things though that help anyone. It could be anything going on, man. I could be dealing with my, the daughter. I mean, the mother of my child, Couture. I could be dealing with something. She might say something to me.
I love how you don't call her your baby mama. I love the respect you have for her that you would not call her your baby mama.
That's because that isn't what she is. And so, like, there's just little stuff. Me and Justice could get into an argument or something, but it's just like, all right, let me get here. We're gonna do shit. But like, these are things.
Just make sure Dylan Walker's not there when you and Justice get into an argument.
Oh man. Well, we didn't. The funny part, he followed me the other day on Instagram, but we didn't do that. That was them doing. I just was up there defending Justice, and then they just arrested us. I don't know what they were doing about. But point being, these are things that, like I said, everybody deals with this. Everybody has something mentally, whether you have to seek professional help or it's at the extent of where you're suicidal or want to go shoot up. I don't know how you would ever get that thought, but I've never been in that place, so I don't know. And it doesn't excuse those that do it. But we all deal with day-to-day things. Even, the way, like I was bringing up Paul George, rich-ass people deal with it too, apparently. And so we all deal with this. There's nothing.
In the Paul George thing, I'm about to throw it to you, Wayne, because people who do what you did and what I did, there's a different idea of being away from family and friends, and you just go, yeah, bro, that's another walk in the park. But then when you actually talk to somebody who's not used to being away from family and friends, and you go, hey, you're gonna be away from your family and friends for 2 months. When I initially heard the Paul George bubble thing, I go, it's okay, bro. Duh, who cares? You're doing a job. But then I remember, you didn't sign up to be away from them for that long. You only signed up for a week or two when you pick. And then you can always go back, even if you're Paul George on a road trip, if you want to go home for a day, you can go home, or you can bring home to you. Whereas
fucking what's his face when he went to Magic City down the street,
Lou Williams, yeah,
Pepper Lou,
when
hanging out with Jack Harlow getting wings at Magic City,
and let's be honest, that grind we did on the island, Wayne, it was different, and it really brought people closer because you're talking about birthdays, Christmas, New Year's. You're talking about major holidays that damn near everybody is away from the people that they would normally spend that time with. So that bond you create with those people while you're doing it, again, you signed up for it and you probably asked to go get it because that bag was nice. But at the same time, it still hurt when you see on Instagram your family having a family Christmas party, you can't be there, and it's 3 a.m. and your drunk ass want to go to sleep, so you can't even FaceTime in because it's I'm slurring and I'm ready to go to bed. Then when I wake up and I celebrate my Christmas, y'all sleep, and by the time y'all ready to talk, it's time for me to go to sleep again. You know what I mean? It's a weird dynamic. So because I've lived something similar, I get it, but I also normalized it. And I look at resilience, because when we talk about mental health, what we don't talk about is elevating your mental health, right? Saying, hey, that triggered me today. Well, fuck it. It triggered me today. Let's get better so it doesn't trigger me the next time that comes around. Hey, let me increase my mental health. Let me be resilient. Yeah, shit happens. You know what? That's why we flush the toilet, so shit goes away. That's why we wipe our ass, so shit goes away. That's why I take a doggy bag when I walk my dogs, and I pick that shit up and I throw it away so the shit goes away. Shit's gonna happen, but you got to get rid of the shit. To you, Wayne.
It's levels. It's levels to it. And for the listeners that are out there, I think the piece that's important is that it's different for every one of us. All of us have a different way of taking on that load. We all have a certain amount of things that we can carry independently before we find ourselves under too much weight, and then we make a huge leap in transition. So I say that to say, at some point, what we have to do is realize that we're not alone, even if it feels like we are. And we have to be willing to reach out to someone and have that hard conversation of what it is that we are processing. I'm not going to say that what we're processing isn't real. I'm not going to say that it's not hard. I'm not going to say that it's easy. I'm going to say that someone out there can assist in putting that thing in perspective. And that's the battle. When I think about the level of darkness that a person is in when they take the actions that have been taken over the past few weeks, that's it. You're in a space where someone could have looked at you and they could have talked you out of that. But I'm confident they were in the wrong group of people, and their circle probably talked them into that. I'm thinking definitely Buffalo's circle talked them into it. The details on the young man here, they haven't been released yet, but I'm confident that circle is not too different, where someone
didn't have the right conversations when they had the opportunity. And as people, we come up short a lot, but we don't have to have the right answers, but we do know when that's absolutely inappropriate and we need to find somebody to get you some help is an option. And I think that's the part that a lot of us miss. We're not willing to look at somebody and say, nah, big dog, you're out of pocket here.
Wayne, you're that friend. You told me I was going to be in the situation I'm in right now probably 2 years ago when I told you it existed.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, hell no.
All right.
and that's the thing, though. And Parlay Pete and I, we have these conversations. Like the crazy thing about Parlay Pete and I is our best conversations is when I like pull up on him and it's just me and him at the house and we say we're gonna go out and we never make it out. Like those, like some of the best nights of my life. Like I be telling the woman when she thinks I go to his house and I go to Atlanta and I'm living in Atlanta, I go
fucking bitches or something. Yeah,
I go like, dog, I be at Parlay Pete's house and we end up drinking a lot and we end up never leaving the house. Like we plan to leave the house just to get food and we don't even make it to food. We just be hungry and drunk and then sleep.
Yeah.
But that's what it is because we get to talking. But even with you, Wayne, like you've always been like a level of accountability. Like, you know, you're the friend who goes, something you're doing is off. What's going on? Like if I'm posting too much of my close friends, you gonna hop in the DMs and talk some shit. Because you go, okay, and I'm going on. Behavior is different. Let me just check in and make sure, you know what I mean? And like a lot of friends don't want to do that because they don't want to like rub somebody the wrong way. I'm telling you, of all my friends who piss me off the most, Wayne, you're on the top of the list. But like,
and I do a good job.
I know. But like it's so appreciated after I woosah and whoop to whoop because you know like our group text, the pod crew group text, sometimes it be great conversations that go in there, and then emotions get involved, and then a great conversation stops. Very actually more regularly than it should. And I don't know about you, but like sometimes there's side conversations that happen. It's like, yeah. But like the constant challenging of good shit, bad shit, shit, right? It's so greatly appreciated, you know?
And to me, I think if every conversation I have with a person is all rainbows, if it's all cherries and, you know, dessert, we probably not that tight. I'm gonna be honest with you. We probably not that cool. Like if I can't call you out on your chaos and you don't call me out on my chaos, I'm gonna be transparent with you. I probably don't trust you. I don't need a lot of pats on the back. You know what I mean? I know where to go to get pats on the back. I need somebody that's gonna look at me and be like, hey bro, you out of pocket. That way I can appropriately look at myself and say, yeah, I am tripping. Let me tighten up. Because with that comes a level of trust and respect that grows the relationship. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing. As a parent, the kids love a pat on the back. They adore it. They do certain things just for it. Oh, I put the dishes away today. You're supposed to put the dishes away. That's your chore. Like you get your allowance every week because that's your chore that you're supposed to do. You're not getting a pat on the back for that. You got paid for that. That's your responsibility. But I did a good job. You're supposed to do a good job. A lot of parents will say, don't say that. No, encourage them. Tell them they did a good job. No, you got paid. That was your job. Your allowance that you received, that was me telling you that you met the requirements. When you don't get paid, that's me telling you that you no longer have a job and what you did sucked.
Shit.
Friendships, somebody don't show up at work on time, they fired.
Shit. Even if something like that, you might not get an allowance at all. You earn your keep. You live here. Yeah. Even as a kid, yeah, I'm your dad and your mom, and I'm supposed to take care of you. But at the end of the day, nothing is free, and we all know that. Ain't nothing free.
And that's why I say it's levels, because some of us can grow up, hear that, and we will be okay. Others of us will grow up, hear that, and we will be devastated. So when it comes to individual people, we really have to have someone in our corner that can look at us and say, I know who you are at your core now. I got a pretty good idea. And right now, yeah, you tight, you on top of your game. Or, nah, man, that's beneath you.
Yes,
and that's the thing. That's the thing, right? Because I remember being told by people growing up that I was spoiled because I got a lot of shit that I wanted. And I go, I wasn't spoiled. I had a supportive mom who set a standard, and she said, "Hey, if you do this, you get this." And I wanted the this, so I did the this to get the this that I wanted. And they go, "Oh, you just spoiled. My parents would never do that for me." And I go, "Well, you didn't do the things that I did. Like,
you don't have that agreement. That's not your household agreement.
Like, they didn't understand that I was a 3-sport athlete, at least a 3-sport athlete from the age of 7 until I graduated from high school, and I maintained a high A GPA, and I also cleaned the house, cooked multiple days a week, cut the grass, took off the trash, did all this stuff. Like, as my ability to take care of the house increased, and it was like, hey, I had to do more to have my freedom. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna do what I need to do to get my freedom. Because I want to do what I want to do. Both of y'all know I like to hit the streets.
Allegedly.
Back in my day. If this is what I need to do to hit the street, oh, you mean I gotta go to Burger King from 11 to 5, get off at 5, have that grass cut before it's dark, weed eat before I can go? Bet. I'm gonna get up at 9, cut the grass before I go to work. Then I'm gonna come home, weed eat real quick. Oh, you need me to wash your car? Bet. I just got paid at Burger King, so I'm gonna take your car to the car wash instead of washing it myself because that's quicker. And then I'm gonna come back, whoop the whoop, and I'm gone.
Can you imagine if every adult took that approach to life in general about anything that they wanted? Like, it doesn't have to be monetarily. Somebody saying, I want to make $1 million a year or something like that. But if you use that principle, which to me, that's the valuable part of it, the principle, the idea of work for what it is that you want, no matter what the loophole, like whatever it is that you have to go to. If everybody had that determination to get accomplished what they got accomplished, a lot of people would be a lot further in life, and like further in life by whatever their standard is. Because like I said, for me, it depends. Like, it just depends on what it is. I know that, like, personally for myself, outside of obviously making sure that my daughter and her mom are straight, like, aside, and then of course my own self, one of the things I want to do, I want my dad to get everything that he gave to me times 10. Like, that's exactly what I want. And because he did everything that he could do for me, and I wouldn't be where I am without him. These things, I try to do as much as I can. I got to take him with me even out there to Vegas. And these are small things, like getting to go with him out to Vegas, and we got to go, to Canelo Triple G1. Getting, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things, like, and especially because obviously, my mom is no longer here. I would have done these things for my mom too. Mm-hmm. But because I don't get that opportunity, all I got is my dad. And I mean, I got my brothers, and I got,
well, friends. Shit, you gave your dad your Brady tickets to last game of the year. You're like, hey, Pops, you got him. Like, this may be Brady's last game in Atlanta.
But even that's even more a little shit. Like, yeah, everybody knows I go to all the games. Like, that ain't nothing. But I just want to show the appreciation for all the days of his life. As long as that he's here, if I can do that, I'll be a happy person. And then from there, take that torch once he's no longer here. And even while he's here, still do the same thing for my daughter. Like, I mean, that is like the most important thing to me. The more and more I look at this stuff, like, I enjoy living kind of the life that I live, like I do, but like at the same time, there's so much more out here. It's a lot bigger. It just is a lot. I want to do everything that I can for those that have influenced me in my life and give them 100, 200,000%,
And then the mental health aspect of that, I think that's where there's a lot of value in it, right? There's a lot of value in being able to say, I have lived one hell of a life. It had some highs, it had some lows. I have to put more energy into the highs to avoid falling into that path of darkness on those lows. And with the right people in your life, the right influence, the right friends, the right family, that strong connection, it makes the process easier to get there. But if we find ourselves surrounded by people that are regularly pulling us towards that darker side.
No, we lost him.
I know, right in the middle of him talking too.
Of a super gym, but you know what? You know what, Parlay Pete? Where he was going with that is having the right people in your lives, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna try to hold this point, see if we get him back. But yeah, he's right back. There we go. Perfect.
Good.
My bad.
Good,
if we find ourselves regularly getting pulled towards that darker side, that's the indicator that that's not our people. That's not our circle. Anytime people are presenting themselves in a manner in which the conversation is pulling the person down versus giving them hope, giving them encouragement, giving them reality, you gotta really evaluate that circle and walk away. And I think that's what a lot of people are dealing with, is they find themselves in online chat rooms and in dark spaces where they're not getting the right encouragement. And that's the type of stuff where I look at Big Brother as they listen in and they observe these rooms and they set up these sting operations where they need to take a different type of action than what they've been taking.
And as we get ready to close this out, another moment of vulnerability. I'm going to talk to the therapist tomorrow, so I'm already getting those vibes going. But like I look at the two of y'all, and I communicate with you, like specifically you two people, more than a lot of people in my life. Like y'all are two of like my no shit like closest friends. Y'all are y'all are one of the reasons why like I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? There's more to life. I think I want to start doing things for other people because. Parlay Pete, like I've seen you with your daughter, and I see like the difference in you and like when you're in dad mode, right? And I've known you for what 10 plus years now, and like I knew you when you were 18.
Yeah,
and like now I know you like as a dad.
Wet behind the ears.
Right, and like with Wayne, like I see, like I watch your Instagram stories with the way you interact with your kids, where like it's build up, it's talking shit, it's all the different little things that you do. Like you be doing bye with your son, and y'all be karaokeing it out. And I go, the day I met Wayne, I could have never thought I would see him doing an NSYNC karaoke thing, but like his son's into 90s pop, 90s 2000s pop music, so Wayne's in the 90s 2000s pop music.
Yeah,
and like. I've been like kind of playing around with on the podcast, but yeah, like I recently got married. Yeah, I ain't told a lot of people. Y'all know, like I told y'all because y'all are important people in my life. I said, hey, we got married. But I'm saying that to say that like when you start prioritizing things in your life and you start looking at like what matters to you and you go, well, what actually matters? Like I've done this. I've done that. You know, like I've played on this team. I've played on that team. I may not go to the Hall of Fame, but I'm going to be in a circle of honor. My jersey's still going to go up in the rafters. I'm happy with the work I did. You know what I mean? But, like, I'm trying to win a championship. And, like, I'm not Jermaine O'Neal. I'll give up them Oreos.
Hey, man.
I want to win that championship. And, like, Wilson, I hit you the other day in the group text. I said, hey, Wayne, fuck you for your motivational workout videos. I looked at my stomach one day and I was like, yo, I got a belly and it's been here for like 3 weeks. Not like it's been here for like a couple of days because I know I done fucked up on my diet and not worked out right. No, I have a belly now. Like my some of my clothes from the island don't fit no more. And I go,
and that's crazy.
And that's what I said. And I said, I go, okay, this diet's changing. This is what breakfast looks like. This is what lunch looks like. This is what dinner looks like. Okay, we still gonna bullshit on the weekend because that's the weekend. But even when we was out there, when I said, hey, I gotta cut out the beer, I gotta go to liquor. Not because I like liquor more than I like beer, but I go, hey, I gotta cut the calories. I've got to cut the calories.
It's certainly if you're gonna be doing that, exactly. Like if you never notice with me, I don't drink beer like that. Like,
no, I stopped bringing beer to your house because I'm bringing like a 12-pack.
That's fine if you bring it. I'll keep it in there, and whenever somebody wants a beer when they're here.
Well, but no, that's the thing. I bring a 12-pack one week, then I bring another one the next week, and then I'm adding a 12-pack to my 12-pack, and I don't like plussing up people's bars that much because we drink liquor while we're here. Like, and I would bring beer to drink liquor, and I go, this is dumb. Let me just bring a bottle of liquor. Yeah, so I drink these ultras because it's less calories while I'm potting.
One there,
huh?
I said you got a goal one there.
Yeah, I got the. Remember, I get these things for free from my mom. She works.
Yeah, because you said she works at the Anheuser-Busch up there, right?
Yeah,
so loads out of there, out of Carsville.
Well, yeah. So I get these, but long story short, what I was saying is, being friends with you all have like really made me like take a step back and look at what's actually important. And you can have all these important accolades in life, and we can take it to sports, right? You can be all NBA first team, you can be MVP, you can be defensive player of the year. But ultimately, like, most people want to get rings and win championships. Like they want to do the thing where I'm sacrificing me so that we can be the best that we can be. And y'all helped me get to that place. And thank y'all so much. And yeah, I eloped, but for the real wedding, we all gonna be there. We're gonna be lit.
No doubt on that.
I'm gonna tell you, save your money.
I'm not spending much money on a wedding, and we'll talk about it in group text what the actual plan is. But long story short, it's gonna be a nice little ceremony at a location that's very, very cheap, and the reception is gonna be in a backyard with a taco truck, and just niggas gonna go buy bottles.
Yeah, well, and that ain't no problem. That ain't no problem.
Nah, the bachelor part is gonna be nuts.
That's the easy part. And congratulations, young man, on your endeavor. I applaud you. Well done.
Hey, did you see it?
That's good. That's a good space to be in.
Did you see it when we left that island 3 years ago? Did you see it 3 years ago when we left that island?
You as a married man?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You seen past the bullshit. Most people don't because they're stupid.
Yeah. We all have a representative.
That's why I fuck with you, Wayne. Okay, I've been too nice to y'all. I'm done here. Anything else we want to add before we close out? I got to start deflecting now.
Well, now that we talk about even that aspect, do you remember, this might have been 2 years ago in the group. I think it was either after Boink or Gamble's got engaged. Whoever came second from those two.
Okay.
Nico had already gotten married. Well,
okay.
He is married now, but like we talked about the order. We were like, well, who's going to get married next?
Was I next?
No. You know what was weird? A lot of people thought I would be, just because I already have a child, but I'm like, well, and I don't close out the idea of marrying Katora at all. Like, to me, she is still the front runner. Like, she's absolutely the front runner. I already have a child with her. Regardless of whatever happens, if I don't marry her, like, I will always love her. Like, she gave me Mariana. Like, and that ain't the reason that I love her. I've experienced a lot of life with that woman.
That's Niecy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And after we get off here, I'm actually about to head over to her house so we can watch the season finale of This Is Us. But nonetheless, there's a show we've been watching, which ironically debuted the day the Falcons lost the Super Bowl. It debuted right after that game.
Look at you being a good daddy and shit.
And apparently she's still awake. So once I get over there, we'll see.
Well, let's close out so you can get over there before she falls asleep, man.
Well, she's not going to fall asleep, but Mariana might. But if not, Mariana gets to wake up and see her dad there, and that's not normal.
Oh, you spend the night.
Over the last 3 months, that hasn't been normal. So always a great surprise when she knocks on she doesn't knock on the door. She just comes in and she's like, Daddy. I love that shit. But nonetheless, no, man, obviously, like Wayne just kind of said, congratulations. I'm glad, man, that because you've done the same thing to me. It's reciprocated. It's not just a one-way street. Like, this is a reciprocation thing. I have a great appreciation for you. I love the idea, especially of how we met each other. And we were cool, like, for sure, but we weren't this cool.
No.
And so now to be on this level with you, being a fellow Georgia boy too, I'm thankful for you, brother. I really am, man. I do love you. And, I can't wait to continue for our lives to go on and we get to build even more memories and just in general help each other become better men.
Yeah, man. I think that's a great closing, man. Any last words to add, Wayne? Because you are like the most wise person, and according to WAP, the most responsible person I know.
I didn't know Wayne. I didn't know that you were older than us like that.
Yeah, I got y'all by a good
You don't really
decade
look
and
it
some
though.
change.
Well, you don't look it.
That nigga be in the gym all day.
No, but he still just doesn't.
I think
you don't look like you're 10 years older than me.
Well, I appreciate that.
Not
I
that
might not
your age, kind of like.
It might be like 8 years.
Like, how old are you?
But I'll be 40 in September.
No, you're 10 years older than me then. I'm 28. I'm younger than Lee.
Yeah. Yeah, but for the closeout, just the biggest piece is for the listeners, for everybody that's out there, we don't stop forming relationships as kids. As adults, we can find brand new relationships. We can make solid connections. We can invest in one another, and there's more life to be lived beyond what it is that we grew up in. Just keep that in mind. Share that information. Remind people sometimes that new relationships can be formed. Part 2 and my final piece is invest in your non-romantic relationships. Put time, put energy, put effort into non-romantic relationships. They have just as much value as the romantic ones.
Probably
Diversify
more.
the portfolio.
Hey, let's
diversify the portfolio.
Probably more, because we can all think about some women who gave us a wet spot and some friction, and the words that came out of her mouth never mattered.
They didn't.
The only word that mattered was yes.
They didn't matter, but they held their purpose too.
Exactly. So, hey, man, thank y'all so much for this. Love y'all. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good Memorial Day weekend. And we out of here.
Yeah.